fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome to 200 laps of full throttle action, where a mistake will cost not only your own race, but the races of so many around you. As a driver, there is nothing more nerve-wracking. Inches apart at 200 miles an hour, 2 and 3 wide lap after lap. As a spectator, there is nothing more awe-inspiring. But one thing's for sure, this is the greatest race in NASCAR. This is iRacing's premier public series, the NASCAR iRacing series, mirroring the real-world season each and every week during hundreds of entries for each and every time slot. 642 entries for this race right now. But none will attract more hype, more anticipation, and more spectacle than this, the Daytona 500. Let's write a new chapter in the iRacing history books with week 1 of the series, live on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by SimSpeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones. I'm joined in the commentary box by Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is Jay Kennedy, work on the cameras, directing and playing community manager on all our live feeds on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. And Sean, let's bring you into the conversation here. Daytona International Speedway, it's just got that sense of awe around it, doesn't it? It's a track that everyone wants to perform on, everyone wants to win, and it's one of the greatest tracks in America.
Ryan, I have been fascinated with this track since 1974. When I first stepped foot on the grounds here of the World Center of Racing. And listen, nothing's changed about this track since then. It's still 2.5 miles. They've still got the 31 degrees of banking in this trial. That's 4 kilometers around this place. And Ryan, it's bad fast, lots of action, fender to fender, all the way around, 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide. You can fit them all on this track. But great memories as a boy. My father was a race car driver, and well, because he had that NASCAR license, well, let's just say we were a little privileged to maybe get to go in the pits when we were kids, and I got to meet some of the greats. I led a very blessed childhood. Richard Petty, Cale Yarbrough, yes, a rookie Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Benny Parsons, David Pearson, the list goes on. That was my childhood. And then I became a consumer when I grew up and became an adult and visited Daytona and met the likes of Dale Jr., Dale Sr., Jeff Gordon. And The experience never changes. It's the electricity is in the air. We've got a strength of field tonight just north of 5,700. Baby, we're going to have some fun here at Daytona International Speedway.
And an extremely talented field lined up for us. I think we got to 10 or 11 splits in total for this time slot. And I'm just having a look at some of the names. Jimmy Mullis is in here. Malik Ray is in here. A number of Coke Series or NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series drivers turning up for this one. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they're the only 2 drivers in here. But
no, Steve Sheehan's here.
Oh, there we go. But they're not even the top 2 R-rated drivers here. There's so many more that aren't in that Pro Series that they've got a better R rating than those drivers. So don't expect those guys to just roll away with it today. We're going to see some fantastic racing today. Hopefully something similar to what we saw in the NASCAR Series with plenty of green flag running.
Yeah, and okay, so we're going to have plenty of time to talk about setups. What's the magic number? Okay, so when I say magic number, what do I mean? Well, how many cars in a line does it take to catch the field if you're on a different strategy? We'll talk more about that because trust me, there's a magic number and I have it. I've got a little bit of inside info for everybody tonight. That's a big deal, but the setup's most importantly an even bigger deal as some secrets were revealed just a few days ago. And well, some of the drivers may have what might look like an awkward setup. I don't know. We'll see. But they will be fast. There's no doubt about that. And there is an advantage to be gained by having good partners. And good partners means a lot of things. We'll talk more about that as we go into the broadcast because, Ryan, we got 500 miles to get through tonight. So I don't think we're going to run out of material to talk about here.
No, we got a long one ahead of us today. And qualifying, in fact, is almost coming to an end. Just 5 minutes to get your 2 laps in at this track. Jimmy Mullis, he's currently fastest by better part of 200ths of a second. Qualifying at Daytona always incredibly close. We often see a lot of drivers, though, opt to start at the back of the field, so you won't see a lot of people put in a qualifying effort so that they can just get themselves into this race and don't want to put themselves in the middle of the pack because that's what most of the drama often happens at this racetrack. We talk about the big one. It's going to happen at some point, you would suggest. And being the right spot at the right time is almost as crucial as having the talent at a track like this.
Ryan, we're all here for the big one. We didn't come out tonight on a Friday evening / Saturday to just watch them run around and not wreck. I mean, come on. It's Daytona. It's electric. The excitement's in the air. Yeah, the big one's probably going to happen, but we have seen, and I've seen a lot of Daytona races over the last several weeks. We've seen guys run really, really well, close together for many, many laps. We saw a Daytona race the other night. They went 2/3 of the race, green flag. NASCAR Coca-Cola race the other night. Went right down to the last lap. So, yeah, I think we're in for an exciting race. Look for 2 wide, 3 wide, close to 200 miles an hour in the pack. Like I said, partners are going to be very, very important.
They will. We got the starting grid up on screen. This is how they line up then for 200 laps of racing around this 2.5 mile racetrack. Marcus Ruckman has taken pole position. He starts with Jimmy Mullis to his outside. Logan Sheets and Ryan Doucette line up off row 2. Will Cooley and Joshua Campbell 5th and 6th. David Brown and Seth Knowles 7th and 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Dallas Pataska and David Lamb.
All right, we'll take the next 10. It's going to be Jonathan Dalrymple starting 11th. Justin Prince, P12. Row 7, Jose Solis and Garrett Maines. Row 8, Devin Hall, James Milbachler will start 16th. Row 9, Donovan Strauss, Jared Liebert. And row 10, Dylan Jones and Will Norton.
So 21st goes to Devin Morgan, 22nd, Steve Shahan. Ryan Hart starts 23rd with Jesse Atchison outside row 12. David Washington starting from 25th with Boyd Hogan, 26th. Malik Ray that Coca-Cola E-Series driver, starting from 27th with Matthew Bell, 28th, top 30, rounded up by Dylan Alt, Josh, and Justin Barthel.
All right, I got the last few here for you on row 16. It's going to be Scott Lamp starting 31st, Esteban Rodriguez 32nd, row 17. Timu Toika. Timu's here. All right. Well, I support Fat Timu. Zach Hudson, number 34, row 18. Sean Timmerman and Josh McLemore will be last car Charlie tonight. That's what 36. But that does mean very little here, as we'll find out here in just a few minutes when they get started. They're coming around already. Lights out in the pace car.
I will tell you, it's Josh McLemore, not McLemore, the sole Aussie in the field. So if I was going to be biased, I'd be rooting for him. But we'll stay neutral on this one. We know, obviously, the big boss at GSRC, one of their commentators, Justin Prince, running around on this one as well. So we've got quite a few interesting drivers out there that we'll keep our eyes on, as well as those Pro Series drivers. Race conditions for this one, nice and cool track for them out there, 23 degrees Celsius, 74 Fahrenheit. Not too much wind to contend with. And of course, that 500-mile, 200-lap race, green flag time here at 3 p.m. sim time. Final thoughts before we get this on underway, Sean?
Boy, I don't have many thoughts. Honestly, I really don't. I'm expecting this to go green for a while. I really think we're going to make it to the first pit stop under green. That's been the trend over this past week. So let's get ready to rock and roll this one.
All right, well, all roads lead here, don't they, to the start of the Daytona 500, a 35-week season ahead of us. Let's get it underway as the pace car will dive down and the field left in the hands of Marcus Ruckman. Green flag in the air, we're underway in the world center of racing, and a good start from Marcus Ruckman. Takes up some of that draft from Jimmy Mullis behind him, and the field will sort themselves out as we make our way down into turn number 1.
2 by 2. Up into turn 1, and now on the way to 2. They're still winding these motors up, starting to go 3 wide there, 3 deep. Everybody jockey in position here, down the backstretch.
Jimmy Mullis getting a great push there from the 34 of Logan Sheets on the outside, and we saw a lot of 3 wide action happening in the Pro Series race a few days ago. Wanted to see more of it today. Certainly on the talent to see it happen, as that is a great push from Logan Sheets. He's staying glued to that rear bumper of Jimmy Mullis all the way around this first lap, basically. And I think he's just about going to clear. He's not clear, and now they get caught 3 wide but lead the race. Down on the inside is Marcus Ruckman. He'll regain it, and Sheets had nowhere to go but to the outside, and now he's going to get left hung out to dry with no one giving him the push.
Got to be careful here, 3 wide early in this race. You don't want a mistake that ends it for everybody behind you. When you got the front 2 rows 3 wide like this, you got to be worried about that. Logan Sheets up top, giving all the push to the 46 he can.
Joshua Campbell in that middle line now. But I'll tell you what, those 2 cars up top doing a fantastic job. That's Mullis and Sheets. They've lined themselves up once more. And the 31 going to clear. That's Campbell down to the inside. A great push from Seth Noel in the 24. And now he's got really no one to push him. That middle line not formed up at all. 2 cars at the top. Everyone really on the inside. About 4 or 5 cars back. We start to see some more people going side by side now. Starting to get a bit of front going to 35. And a big momentum for the number 20 all the way up on the high side. That's Malik Gray making his way to the front. Going to make it 3 cars up on the very high line, 3 deep, 4 or 5 deep. This is what we like to see. But the front 2 now clear of all of that side-by-side action.
And what we're starting to see towards the back, a lot of drivers have kind of faded back. I think they see it 3 wide up there. I think they're waiting for something to happen, and they don't want to be involved in it. So let's drop back, and you've got about 10 cars, line of stern, behind this field, and I think they're waiting. Campbell running it down on the bottom, getting that nice push.
job there, but that 24 is looking good on what is now the top line as that third line starts to fade. And the 24 of Seth Knoll, can he lead them at the line with push from the 35 of Jonathan Dalrymple there? And it's pretty much a dead heat. 5,000 separated from the line it was in favour of Joshua Campbell down on that inside. The middle lane seems better formed at the moment, doesn't it, Sean? That inside's got 2 cars and about a car's gap back to the 9 of Will Cooley, whereas that middle line's got 4 or 5 deep, all pushing pretty strong.
I agree with you, I really do, but watch out for this top line. Malik on board with him now. It is starting to run. They can get a couple more cars with him here. They might be able to get it really to the front.
They can. I'm just watching Malik Ray too up on that third line. Not really got much help. He's got Jimmy Mollis up there, about a couple car lengths behind him. Probably going to try and get to his rear bumper pretty soon, but
he's on the way.
Third line, yeah, that third line just not quite working early on here. They'll get some more cars out there and it'll work. It really comes down to the amount of help you've got. We see now the inside and the middle both fully formed for at least 4 cars deep, and then a couple single file cars just all the way on the inside behind them. But it really depends on how many cars you've got in the pack and how many people you've got on each line making things work to get the energy up to the front cars to take that lead away.
And Ray gave up on it. Or no, I'm sorry, Malik's still up on the top line, but he lost his partner. Although Mullis swings around, he comes back up to the top line. Now he's going to get the momentum. Needed to get a little draft off that Ford, get a run at it. Let's see if he can catch up to Malik here, give him a little help. I'm not going to give up on that top line. That's still a good one if you can get 2 or 3 cars up there to work it.
And you see it on board with Jimmy Mullis here too, making his way through 1 and 2. With how tight it is, not much room for him to work with. Mally Gray finds a gap, and suddenly Jimmy Mullis has got no one out there, and he immediately starts to drop back, try to slot himself back in line there. But he's going to have to go back quite some way as the 24 out front. Seth Knoll gets himself down the inside, takes that lead fully away. The outside now going to be led by Jonathan Dalrymple with Mally Gray pushing him.
And I don't think Malik had much of a choice there, to be honest with you, because Jimmy wasn't catching him and it wasn't really helping him, and he found an opportunity, got it in there, and now look at him up on this second row. Boy, you talked about that 24 a few minutes ago. I'm starting to like the way that car is running now. Seth is really wheeling it well. He's steady, and if you're going to have someone behind you to help, steady is important. He is solid as a rock right now.
Well, the whole deal is solid as a rock right now. Lots of very good driving going on out there. I feel like we should probably mention then the pit strategy for this one. Obviously, you're going to have to pit quite a few times to get home at the ends here. The pit window, anywhere from around 33 to 38 laps, depending on where you are in the field. Obviously, the further back you are, the less full throttle percentage you're going to use, because you're using that draft with the half a dozen cars in front of you to pull you along. And then when we come down to that pit stop window, what we're probably going to see, Sean, is a lot of people start to single file it out.
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think what has happened here currently is maybe some of these guys got tired of driving 3 wide, and boy, I'll tell you what, Garrett Maines stepped out. I think he needed a breather there. The car was probably getting hot. And then he stepped right back in, right on top of Logan Sheets, and almost took the nose off that thing.
That's funny, doing his best, Mally Gray up there to push 35 clear. Another thing that they've got to be careful of with these big pushes too is just watching the engine temperatures. When you're tucked right up behind someone's rear spoiler and your nose is pretty much on their bumper, there's no air going in to the engine. Is a great move to the outside. The one little tire of Garrett Maines. Mally Gray put his car right in front of him. The 35 is going to go backwards through the middle, and Mally Gray will go to the front, albeit just for a little bit now, as the inside comes back through the corner, moves back up to get some of that push from the 1. And Garrett Maines, I think, wants to make his way forward here, and now Gray is stuck in the middle. Great push from the 36 and the 34 up on that top line. Now the 34 is going to just abandon it now. The 36 there, Justin Prince. trying to find a way forward. It's incredibly tough to pick the right line, isn't it, Sean? Because we saw it get the momentum out there. Now suddenly, it's got no momentum at all.
Well, you got to pick the line of the moment, and this track will continue to change all evening here, all day, and I got to go back to what Seth Knoll is doing right now. Again, so steady. That's what keeps giving him the advantage down there on that bottom line. It's not that the bottom line is faster. He is just consistent right now. And any inconsistency from anybody on the top line is going to just slow that down by nature. But make no mistake, Ray has got one bad, fast hot rod, and he's got a pretty good pusher right now in Dalrymple.
He does, and there we go. Malik Gray clears him.
He left him.
Goes to the inside, takes it away, and you can add your drafting partners all you want, but if you have an opportunity to take it, get down to the inside, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see it happen as again Garrett Main's going to try the outside. This time with a push from the 14 of Steve Sheehan, and what a run they've got too. Justin Prince's going to go with him as well. The 34 dropping a long way off the back of Jonathan Dalrymple there. And there you see the 24 moves to the middle line. So Seth Knoll wants to try and get the lead back here. And they'll go 3 wide once more as they come across the stripe. And Malik Gray still won't lead a lap here.
Yeah, again, I think the type of racing that's going on in the front, it's got the rest of the field a little spooked right now. A lot of cars have dropped back and gotten in the line. I don't think anybody back there wants any of this right now. They really look to be content running in a line. Literally, the whole pack behind the front, 8 cars right now?
Yeah, pretty much. It's hard racing up front. Everyone else just trying to lay back and make sure they're there at the end. What are we lap? 13 of 200, not even 10% of the way into this one.
Scared. I'm gonna call it what it is. They're scared. They don't want any of it. Period. They don't want any of the hot rodding going on up front here. Knoll finally moves up to the top. I don't know if it was him moving to the top or Malik forcing his way down to the bottom, but Knoll gets it back from the top. Leaves his partner, and Dalrymple loses it.
That was very sketchy there. Dalrymple just came down on the front right of Garrett Mains' machine. They made a slight bit of contact. Thankfully, they've managed to escape unharmed. I think Dalrymple got a slight piece of the wall, and his momentum is absolutely killed. He'll go down back into the teams of the running order here, and maybe just take a little bit to regather himself after that, as it just sort of single-filed out the top 15 cars for a moment there, but before we know it, straight back to double file action. Malik Gray back at the top. No one content to sit in second place, it seems. Everyone wants to get out and lead the race.
Well, so much for that 3 wide racing. They decided that's enough of that. And right now it's the Chevy and the Toyota that has really been dominant. Now we've got Ford back there working, but it really has been the Chevys and the Toyotas right now that have seen the front of this field.
Yeah, they have. And out front too, we're just riding on board with Sean Zimmerman, but Malik Gray with a big push from Marcus Ruckman. They were both able to clear Knoll down the inside, so they've both taken away the clean air for the 24. And now he's got no one up to the top side as well. So the first car up top is 5 cars back and fading 14, but as I say that, Garrett Mains now pokes his nose out into some clean, fresh air, and he's going to try to make something work out here on the outside line. That 14 car is Steve Sheehan, who's just been doing a lot of pushing today, hasn't really led any lines so far, and seems content to just ride around where he is.
Well, not really content. I mean, he's gone 15 spots here to the front since the green drop of the green flag, so
you're right.
He's setting himself up actually for pit stops coming up here and probably about 15 laps or so. That's a pretty good run to the front. Garrett Mains too has also had a tremendous run up here. So all these cars coming forward fast. They got out of those cars behind and got up here to run up front. But now we're starting to see a bit of a breakaway. Yeah, exactly.
Malik Gray, very aggressive block there. And then decides against it, but in the background, it's going to be hit the wall too. Mistake great. He's kept that car pointed in the right direction. Should mention Malik Gray's come up 24 spots too. And he was in front, it seems like since the start of the race. So he had a blinding start to this one. But immediately got himself out into the leading group of cars. And you can see from that shot there, most of the action is at the front. The rest of the field pretty much single file, 10 on riding around. And start contrast what we're seeing up front. The number 3's joined the party too, Donovan Strauss, just giving his assistance to the outside line there. Although now going to the middle, and Shaheen has to just step by and let him go by. And Strauss will move himself up a couple more spots, going by Prince on the inside as well.
And it's still really the bottom line where most of the action's going on, but we've now seen 3 passes from the top side down for the lead of the race. So look here now for the line running up top. Maybe if they get a run here off the turn, it might be time for Seth Knoll to get back to the lead of this race. Let's see if he can get by Ray down the stretch.
We'll see the outside get the runs coming out of turn number 2 and out of turn number 4 as their cars come off the banking steeper angle. And they're still get their cars pointed straight, much quicker, easier to line up and give a big push. Then through the corners, you'll see here the inside, of course, is the faster line. It's the shortest way around the track. You'd have to have a lot of cars up against it on the outside to overcome that inside line through the corners. But we see coming out of them, the run, the 24 got there, and at the line that time by 5 thousandths of a second. I mean, if this was the end of the race, Sean, this would be a grandstand stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, on board with Knoll here, we get a good look right over the wicker. And we are, again, speeds right now just peaking right close to 200 miles an hour. And literally feet between every car on track.
Great shot there, showing 56 cars. They fire their way through 3 and 4 that time by. And definitely a bit of energy is dissipated from this leading group. We saw quite a bit of racing happening in the early goings. But I think now everyone just started to settle themselves in. We've just crossed the 10% way of the race, that 21 of 200. We'll probably see, I think, 4 or so pit stops if we go green the whole way, which is saying something, because the closer we get to the end, the more frantic the field becomes, the more cars become involved in this battle for the lead, the more chances of seeing 3-wide racing. I think we're definitely going to see some pretty committed 3-wide stuff the later we get in this race. We're telling you how to steal. As Malik Gray decides to throw a block to the outside line, wants the push in the 24 there. And the 10 now gets an opportunity to lead the inside. Marcus Ruckman, the pole sitter, only second to line that time by. And just watching Steve Sheehan in the background too. He's poking his nose out a lot to that third line, but he keeps losing out every time he does it. I think he wants to try and advance his position here, but he's got no friends at the moment.
No, he doesn't. And I wonder if he keeps poking it out there because he needs air. I doubt. These guys have run so many Daytona races. I would hate to think that anybody's experimenting with tape at this point for an edge. So maybe it's just a situation where he is trying to get an advantage up there. But there he is, again, up in that top line. It's just really not moving. He will get a little momentum, though, as he drives it down the hill and does not drive it down the hill. He keeps it up top.
He does. So we're going to lead that lap. Malik Gray opting to work Knoll there on the outside line. The help as well from the Warner Garrett Mains in the background. And we've got, what are we, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars deep side by side. Then we start to go single file the rest of the field. About 10 laps away from when I think the pit window will most likely open here as Malik Gray takes an aggressive move down to the inside. Taking the clean air away from Ruckman, and Knoll now once again finds himself with Mowat on front. Malik Gray here showing his experience, just working both lines, keeping himself out front.
All right, now we've had a significant run here under green flag. I don't want to jinx anything. No commentator jinxes here tonight, but this is what we're going to see. And when everybody starts moving to the bottom line, I think that'll be our clear indication that everybody's setting up for that pit stop. Now, we're still quite a bit away, somewhere in that 10 to 12 lap window, but trust me, drivers are thinking about it now. Teams are getting instructions from the box, and you can bet there's a strategy going on here for this pit stop. You know, you have two strategies going into this first stint. One of them is if you get that early caution, what do? And then you have the better scenario, which is let's run it green to the first stop. So I think we're going to get that. These drivers are definitely, what I'm seeing on track looks like they're driving with that in mind. Everybody right now playing it pretty safe. We're not seeing as many of the bold moves that we saw, let's say, about 10 laps ago.
No, you're certainly right there. Is definitely there's visibly more gaps opening up after the first 4 cars that are side by side, pushing hard. A lot of gaps forming between cars from there on back. Everyone's just keeping their engines cool, keeping themselves out of drama, and slowly but surely the outside line loses more and more people. You can see in the background too, there's still a few guys dotted here and there, just making it work on the outside, trying to advance their position just a little bit, put themselves in the best spot possible, but not really looking to make their way forward. There'll be a lot of guys at the back, Sean, that could run at the front very easily, but don't want to right now, because we talk about cautions, we talk about the big one, we talk about how often we see it in these sorts of races, the exception of the very few that do go green, and you don't get no second chances. If you get caught up in it, your race is done.
Yeah, there are none exactly. I'm glad you brought up the second chances. What I'm looking at right now, I'm looking at Jimmy Mullis right now, who's dropped back 20 positions since we got started, all right? Jimmy might be one of those candidates that actually comes in early, and he's got Alt right now behind him, Bell, Lamp, Rodriguez. These are a bunch of drivers that might consider going a little bit earlier than that 36 we're really talking about. But I'm surprised if you see them peel off here in maybe 2 or 3 laps. We saw that happen a few nights ago in the NASCAR Coca-Cola race with several drivers deciding to come in. I think it was at about lap 28.
Well, let's see that as Garrett Maines takes the move down to his inside. That leaves Noel with no help out there for at least a couple car lengths. Now covered up to give him a push with a big head of steam as a 3 goes to the outside, and so still with no help there is Noel. The 3 and the 14 should be able to clear here, down through 1 and 2. It's Donovan Strauss and Steve Shaheen there. And yet Noel just got hung out a bit there by Garrett Maines going down to the inside. There was no one to fill that gap particularly quickly. And Strauss was so far back that he garnered a massive run. And now Malik Ray's going to go to the middle. But that top line, it's moving.
It's starting to. We're seeing maybe a little rubber to get a heavier there on the top line, and we're 3 wide to get off the turn. And it is currently, the Ford is in the lead. We've got a Ford to the front.
That time by, it's that extreme outside line that led them at the line. Donovan Strauss. There was nothing between his rear bumper and the front bumper of Malik Ray there. Not a move I would have made myself, but that's why he's up there in top split and I'm up here in the commentary box. That was about as close as it gets. And again, this time on Ruckman, he's got that all clear call down pat. Now Ruckman not content to sit him behind, so he wants to lead back. Malik Ray's going to be the one to give him a push. Steve Shaheen lined up behind him too, so's the 35 back there, the 35 Jonathan Dalrymple. And it just seems that the inside can't hold a lead. Every time you get a few cars working together nicely up in the middle or even the third lane, they clear the inside, they're able to come down and take that lead away. But sitting here watching it, you've got to wonder whether maybe this first is staying up on the top line. As I say that, Ruckman goes to the inside.
What a move by Ruckman there. time is a possibly a code brown there for Donovan.
It's lap 31 now as you come across the stripe. It's pit window well and truly within sight.
Yeah.
We have about 8-10 cars, I'm going to say, off a quick count or a quick glimpse that are still side by side. Most of the field is sorted out. I think we'll see pretty fairly. You'll be surprised how quickly these front half a dozen guys get themselves single file here.
Well, the race has turned into a few packs now. We've, of course, got the leaders, and then you slip back maybe to the 11 there, Will Norton leading that next pack. They're all line of stern trying to catch up. And then just behind that, I think you'll get to David Washington. And Washington has the lead of that pack, which is a long one. That's pretty much the rest of the field, all the way back to Fat Timu.
Yeah, a lot of packs starting to form, gaps opening up in the field as drivers start to find the people they want to work with here. A few of these drivers most likely have teammates in this pack with them. They've got people they know they've raced with the heat. Malik Ray. I mean, most of these guys at the top of the game here, the top half a dozen, the top half of the numbers in the field, they've all been at this level for so long, most of them. They've raced each other for so often. Guys like Malik Ray, I mean, he's in the Pro Series, he's number 20, but he knows how Jimmy Mullis races. He's raced Garrett Maines plenty. He's raced Jarrett Leibart plenty. He's back in the back him. But all these drivers, they know how each other sort of race everyone, and they know how they all handle, how aggressive they are, how conservative they are. So there's guys you want to work with, there's guys you might not want to work with, and a few friendships being formed. That's what most of this race is about too, just forming those friendships to get you into the prime position at the end of the race, and then come the final few laps, it's every man for himself.
Listen, if you're gonna have a partner, he's got to be good. He's got to be steady. Whether that be the pusher or the one being pushed, both drivers have to really work at that together. Any slight variance of that it's not going to work. You need to find somebody else, and those decisions have to be made quick, because most of these guys know who they're racing with right now. There might be a couple of wild cards in there, and they've already got a pretty good idea who they can work with. The wild cards, you maybe give them one chance and then you move on, but after the pit stops, it's really going to change. It's going to change based on strategy. Not everybody's going to come in at the same time. We don't want to see that chaos on pit road. Well, maybe we do, but that is going to change the complexion of how this race is being run right now. And there we go. Malik is down.
Anyone going to come with him? Doesn't look like it. All by his lonesome.
Rodriguez.
Let's talk about the ramifications of that. Oh, who lost it on the entry to pit road in the background?
That was Rodriguez. Esteban Rodriguez. Not a good trip in there. Whoa.
And great as well. So, and might have been caught speeding. So, not a great pit stop for him. Let's talk about the ramifications of that. You come in all by yourself, you head back out on the track, you're going to be so far down on speed compared to this big pack of cars. It'd be so easy to lose touch with the guys you were racing here.
On board with Ray as he's coming to the pits, it was really unsteady. Oh, it was really close. He was, I don't know. It's 70, and it looked like it said 75. I don't know. Everybody's coming in now, though.
That is a huge water cars contact in the lane. And who's that? That's Boyd Hogan that copped a little bit to his right rear. Ended up spread-eagled across the grass. Gathers it back up, gets it back into his pit stall. Talking about the entry to pit lane, it's so tough. These are the smallest brakes they run on the cars because you don't need them other than for this pit stop. But it's also the biggest wash-off of speeds that they have on the
Hogan got turned.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if you'd said that. I was going back and looking at it, and he got turned, yeah. I didn't realize that. I thought he, just like everybody else, just jammed on the brakes and had trouble, but it's a tough one there for Hogan.
But it's the biggest wash-off of speed across any of the circuits too, coming down from 200 miles an hour to pit road to speed limit, and you got the smallest brakes to make it happen. So obviously so many mistakes on pit road. Even just getting into your pit stop, we see a lot of drivers often overshoot.
Mullis in his box with Ruckman, Bell, Logan Sheets, little Cooley, Strauss is in there, Atchison, and they're speeding off pit lane now. Who got out of there first? Was that Strauss that got out first? I think it was Strauss that got out first. Ruckman? Nah, Ruckman beat him.
Of the field comes down into the lane now. This is pretty much everyone that hadn't made a pit stop. Lots of big packs of cars all pitting at the same time here. Just noticed Malik Gray's managed to hook up with someone. It's Dallas Pataska. Oh, there's a car sideways on the pit exit, down on the apron. Who's that?
There's Sheets with trouble, and Will Norton missed his box just up in front of that.
A lot of drivers running into trouble here.
Yeah.
In this pit stop phase, you see there Marcus Ruckman working with the 9 of Will Cooley. Or sorry, the 3, in fact, of Donovan Strauss. I promise those numbers look the same from afar.
Yeah.
Running around 8th and 9th at the moment. I think it still looks like 7 cars yet to make a pit stop. They're 34 seconds off them at the moment. No, everyone has pitted.
Yep, we got everybody in.
Yeah, there we go. They're just coming out of pit lane now. There they are, and watch Ruckman and Strauss here. They will absolutely clean these guys up, along with the rest of the field. And the early pitters definitely benefiting here.
Yeah, it wasn't an extreme shift in strategy, but they did pit first nonetheless, and it's given them the measure of the field here with Liebert, Brown, Ruckman, Strauss in that breakaway. Oh, I guess I gotta put Maines in there too. We haven't talked enough about Justin Prince. He's been very, very consistent. He's been a good partner. And after the cycle of pit stops there, he found himself back with the front group here.
Official racing too, so I rating, safety rating on the line. Talk about I rating for him. He's the lowest rated driver in this field. He stands to gain an absolute margin here if he finishes up in these first 5 or 10 spots. Be well worth the 200 laps for him today if he can stay up there, but still a long way to go on this one. It's lap 39, lap 40 when we come across the stripe here. And the field now is going to try to sort themselves out once more as the drivers that were at the front trying to get themselves back. Mally Gray, I'm actually surprised at how he's managed to stay in this leading pack after pitting all by himself and overshooting his pit bay.
Mystery to me, but he's Malik Gray. We've seen him bounce back. I've seen him bounce back personally in 3 different races over the past week and a half. So Malik just seems to have a little bit of the magic here at Daytona. And you know what? If I'm being really honest, Ryan, you need a little magic to run or to win here at Daytona. It really, very rarely comes down to the best car. It just chaos erupts there in those last few laps, and you just never know who's going to squeak away with a win.
This second group of cars, led by Timo Toika there, all the way back in 27th place at the moment. This pack involves guys like himself, Boyd Hogan, who was spread eagled in the lane earlier, Justin Vitello, Zach Hudson, Scott Lamb, Sean Timmerman, a lot of drivers that ran into issues in the pit stops, Matthew Bell as well. And they're quite a way off at the moment, about 7 seconds off the leading group of cars. So it's about 26 people in the lead train, then about 5 or 6 guys all the way back there. And then these two in a bit of trouble. All the way back in 34th, Josh Micklemore and Esteban Rodriguez. They've dropped a long way off the pack. They're 21 seconds adrift. I mean, these two...
They're going to keep dropping.
Yeah, they're going to keep dropping. They're going to be under threat of going a lap down here if this stays green.
Yeah, and Logan, of course, with his problems out there by himself, it will just be a matter of time before he starts his lap here. But up front, it's still pretty tight. You know, we were talking about Timu and that group back there. They're not helping themselves right now. They're all back there fighting. I know we're back up front, but they're all back there fighting for position. That's not what they need to do. They need to drop the line and try to catch the group in front of them.
Yeah, they do, and you see a very, very messy group there, not helping themselves at all, but there's a long way to go, coming close to the quarter mark of this race. I dare say we'll probably see a caution at some point. If we go 200 laps green, then I'll admit I was wrong. I mean, Sean, it doesn't seem likely. I mean, it's so long. And by the time you get towards the end of the race too, you start to feel so fatigued as well, mentally and physically, I guess, too, because it's as nerve-wracking stuff as a driver.
Yeah, it is. Listen, I have logged a lot of laps at Daytona in a pack. That experience dates back to the late 90s of sim racing for me. Daytona always been top of the list for me as far as tracks I like to run. Yeah, it's a pressure cooker, man. It's white knuckling it for 500 miles. Much like running an Indy 500 here on iRacing, it's the same. The speed is intense. The tightness of the packs really close, much closer than you generally see in any other race. And you add in that 200 mile an hour factor. Well, that makes a big deal too with these well over 3,600 pound stock cars.
A lot of familiar names in front after this pit stop cycle. Marcus Ruckman still leading. Steve Shaheen's found himself at the front of the outside line, so he found a very important gain there. Donovan Strauss still there. Garrett Main still on number 7. That's a new name to the front for this one. Dallas Mataska found a big jump and got himself from the back half and lead pack to the front half. 36 is still there with the 35 with the 20, Malik Gray too. So lots of drivers just making themselves known to be at the front all race long here. And it's really the first 8 cars, again, side by side. Everyone else just content riding single file right now, it seems.
Not at all surprised to see Dallas Pataska move his way up the board and get into this pack of leaders. You know, I said before the pit stops that I thought the complexion of this race would change. It hasn't changed at all. And what's amazing is that there were some pretty shoddy pit stops in there, and we still have most of the field together after that.
We do, and he just saw a scary onboard shot from Logan Sheets looking back at the leading creep of cars, and that is a hungry pack coming at him. He's doing the right thing, getting himself up against the wall. That's where you want to see the lapped cars go, because if a lapped car stays on the inside, you've suddenly got to move 20 or so guys all up a lane in tandem without running over each other. It ends in tears 9 times out of 10.
I've been that guy.
You've been that guy.
Oh. I have been that guy. You know, and really the important thing is you want to keep it off the wall, because you get it into the wall and then all of a sudden you've done more harm than good. You're so susceptible to make a mistake. Now, not a bad idea to drop in with the top line if you're moving, if your car is still full song. Hey, stay up here with this lead group. It serves you well. You may get that lap back at some point. But it doesn't look like he's got enough momentum to do it, unfortunately. So going to fade back just a bit and probably going to have to move up the track for the next group coming through.
Well, the good thing for him is right now is the only person lap down 35 cars through the lead lap. But Nicamore and Rodriguez now just 30 seconds, or 20 seconds ahead of the lead group of cars. So give it 5 or 6 laps and they'll be a lap down too, as they're making their way into turns 3 and 4. The leading group of cars coming out of turn number 2 now. There's a small window here for Sheets for, in his fortune, a caution to come out. And then we'll see a fight for the lucky dog position too, when or if it does come out, if you've got a few guys a lap down. Logan Sheets actually starting to make some ground up with help from Jimmy Mullis all the way up on that third line of cars. Making some good progress, gets himself level with Malik Ray and the 36 as well, which is Justin Prince, and that's covered. Jimmy Mullis doing a great job of pushing him up there.
And we're back 3 wide racing here at Daytona International Speedway, about to hit the quarter pole. Lap 50, coming around.
Ooh, the 34 sheets just drifted up the track coming out of the corner. It becomes easier and easier to do as the tyres wear over the course of the stint. You wouldn't think too much about tyres on a track like this, but it does make a difference. At the end of a stint, you'll really struggle to keep that car down in your lane. You'll start to drift up on the exit of the corner. Maybe an early sign of that there from the 34. And when you're tightly packed 3 wide, as you probably will be later on in the race, that's quality you don't want to have in your car.
They do get squirrely at the end of the run. That's just a fact. You can't, these good years can only be abused for so long, and 200 miles an hour is abuse. No matter how you slice it, it's abuse. And at the end of the run, they skate around a lot. They get awful hard to manage, and especially get awful hard to manage when you're getting that push from someone behind you.
I mean, if I had to have someone push me in this race, I'd probably choose Jimmy Mullis or Mally Grace. I mean, he's got good help there.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with the help. This is quality help. I would definitely consider this quality help. They keep proving that 51 laps in now. It's been pretty outstanding to watch. If I'm being honest here, this has been an amazing battle up front. Been an amazing battle throughout the field, but up front, the continued side-by-side racing and passing has been quite a handful here to keep track of.
Has been, but this is super speedway racing at its finest. Donovan Strauss gets a little bit squirrely on entry to turn number 3 there, gathers it up pretty nicely, and Tusker will get himself back up to the rear bunker. When you do get squirrely like that, the car behind you will often just lift off a little bit, just a precautionary measure, and that will hurt the momentum of the inside line in this case, and they managed to gather it up pretty quickly. But as the race goes on, again, that car behind won't give you that precautionary fluid. They'll keep their foot planted in it, and that's when the incidents start to come. So it's all good right now. But again, the closer we get to the end, the more frenzied it becomes. There's that 50 of 200, still plenty of time to go. This race slowly coming towards the 1 hour mark. I think we'll get up towards 2.5, 3 hours if we keep going at this pace.
Well, at this pace, we may be in for a record. This has been solid. If they can make it to the checkered flag, we'd have a real big story on our hands here on the iRacing Esports Network here on a Friday night, Saturday, there in the land of Sim Speed.
Pleasure to have you joining us up here in the booth today, Sean. I didn't even have to ask twice. I said to Sean, hey, so we're going to be broadcasting NASCAR iRacing Series, and we need a commentator. And Sean's like, you asking me? You asked me, I'll do it. And it was as easy as that.
Well, listen, my father was a NASCAR driver, a modified driver in the Northeast. I grew up with this. It's in my blood. I learned how to turn left long before I did anything else in my life. And I love this type of racing. I love this type of racing on iRacing, if I'm being honest. I don't know that I guess maybe I'm one of those old school guys. I have a lot of opinions, but this brand of racing I will take every day of the week.
Yeah, I love the super speedway stuff. I mean, the short track. There's so many different ways these cars are utilised, isn't there, on the NASCAR schedule? I mean, we've got 35 weeks ahead of us for this series with a couple of off weeks in there. We're going to go 6 speedway racing, a total of 4 times. We've got short tracks in there where they're going to reach speeds not even up to half of what they're doing right now. We've got your cookie cutter 1.5 mile circuits. We've got 2 mile tracks. We've got a few road courses thrown in there too. These cars are incredibly versatile, and the drivers that we'll see over the course of the season able to adapt. We'll start to see a pattern of the same few drivers starting to emerge over the course of the season as the ones to beat. They just always seem to be at the front no matter what type of track it is.
Well, that's just kind of the cream rising to the top. I think it's not a big secret, but listen, I know that a lot of work, a lot of preparation goes into setup, and a lot of this is talent of the driver. Make no mistake about that. But setup is so important. You would be shocked at some of the data I've seen on things just as simple as weather. And how some guys out there are literally tracking weather in sessions, okay? Keeping data on multiple sessions about the weather and building setups based on wind, temp, and using that as a basis, that research as a basis to be ready on race day. So, I mean, there's a lot going into this. This has become very serious. A lot of real-world engineers out there behind the scenes giving a little input. And we got a car peeling off. It's Mullis going for the pit stop. 57 laps. And let's see, that was 20 laps since he last came in. So a little strategy here being played.
Got no help though when he comes out of pit lane, so we'll see whether that pays off for him. We'll talk about setup. Yeah.
I was going to say, did I say earlier, though, that Mullis might be one of those guys that you saw play a little bit of fuel strategy here with the field? Yeah. So out there taking a chance, the Sim seats number 8 in his box, still there. Bit of a long stop. I'm kind of curious now. Something's going on, and he's out of the car. Jimmy's out of the car.
Something going on there for Jimmy Mullis. Some sort of failure or real-world event.
Or life happens, yeah.
Yeah. Pulled him from the seat. That is a big shame to see him out of this race.
So much strategy.
He would have been one of the favourites for this one. Certainly no strategy ploy. About to go up down as Esteban Rodriguez and Joshua Mickelmore working in tandem pretty nicely, but nothing they can do up against a pack of 20-plus machines who are not fighting each other too hard, it must be said. So they'll get themselves up to the top line here. Both these guys pretty experienced. Donovan Strauss gets himself up onto the high line, and he wants to take this lead away from Marcus Ruckman. He does take it away at the line. Garrett Maines, Malik Ray lines up pretty squarely to his rear bumper, and he wasn't up there long. All of about 5 or 6 seconds is all he needed to clear Marcus Ruckman to get back down to the inside.
You know, probably it'll be a matter of time you start talking about the setups on the cars, and I brought it up in the pre-race, and there's a segment of people out there that think maybe some drivers have exposed the setup on some of the cars with what they've done with the front end. You know, it's not as simple as lowering the rear and jacking the front up and you're going to the front. Trust me, I know. I've talked to several drivers who are running that setup. You've got to put some other things into the car to actually make it work. It's within what's available. And I don't think that makes it OP, in my opinion. You know, that, again, it's what's available. Now, will it be available for long? We'll see Tuesday.
Probably not.
or Thursday. But, you know, and honestly, that revelation was really recent. I mean, literally within the last week that someone tried something. It was like, oh, hang on a second. This might work. And then a couple of drivers tested it together, and, well, they found something. And does it mean they're going to win the race? No. But the drivers that found it did more than, like I said, lower spring rates in the rear and, you know, increase the spring rates in the front. There's a lot more to it than that, because I've seen plenty of drivers who tried it and have gone backwards. So you got to know what you're doing. Again, there's a lot of research that went into that.
Look at the 16, not someone we've seen at the front yet in this race. Jesse Atchison puts his name into the ring and is going to go all the way to the front. He started this one from 23rd, finds his way up in the leading pack now with help from Garrett Maines. Took an opportunity to go to the outside, and it worked pretty well for him. Not quite able to clear Donovan Strauss down the inside of that time by at least. And Shaheen in the background with help from Malik Ray too, just thinking about that third line, just poking and probing up there and actually finding something to work with Malik Ray on his rear bumper, getting a good boost of momentum into the corner. And I dare say they'll get a great piece of momentum out of the corner zoo here. As they come down, and there they go, they start to find some speed and starts to clear the 36 underneath them and pull alongside the one of Garrett Maines I think he thought about going down, but just wasn't rooting for him there on the inside line.
So glad you brought up Atchison. He's running that old Pappy scheme on that car. That's an iRacing classic for sure. R2K3. You take your choice. That Pappy paint scheme's been around for a while. The only driver out here representing the great Atlantic region tonight, Ryan.
Great. I'm not going to get into that because I feel like whatever I say, it's going to upset someone watching this broadcast. So I'm gonna just keep rooting. I'm gonna just keep quietly rooting for my Aussie back there in the field. And oh, that's an awkward push for Shaheen.
No, it was. And he had to get
Malik Ray.
He had to get out of it quick because they were coming up on the turn quickly, obviously. Look at this. Oh, geez, on board with Malik.
It's busy out there, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a lot harder than I guess it looks, which it doesn't actually look that easy in saying that. But to be riding around with two cars to your inside and a concrete wall, or a safer barrier, I guess, in front of a concrete wall to your outside, it's not that easy to gauge where the right side of that car is. You don't want to come down too far either and pinch those guys on the inside. So, I mean, you've got to have fantastic spatial awareness to do it, lap after lap.
It's starting to look like a Friday afternoon trip on the Long Island Expressway. Everybody heading out to the Hamptons for the weekend here up front. That's okay, Ryan. You don't have to get that. Somebody does. It's all right. If I only get it, it's okay.
I don't think me or Jay got that. Jay behind us there, you just laughing away every now and then.
Well, the chat is active. Somebody chime in on Long Island. Go represent. Let's hear from our Long Island.
Look at Malik.
Malik's shuffled to the top. Yeah.
Got a cool run going there. 3 abreast for the lead of the race. 2 deep here. Malik with help from Shaheen. Atchison with help from Maines. And Strauss with help from Ruckman. And I think Shaheen doing the best job of pushing right now. The deficit they've got is they're on the 3rd lane. It's the longest way around the track. You lose so much in the corners. They were dead heat heading down the back straight. I think you saw. As the higher you got, gradually the farther and farther back they got through the corner there. Actually quite cool to see. And through the tri-oval, it was Donovan Strauss by 2 thousandths over Atchison and Malik Ray. And Atchison just getting a little close to that door of Malik Ray there, and Shaheen just drops off.
Yeah, Strauss has got me nervous. He's flirted with that apron a couple of times now. I don't like that, Donovan. Don't do that anymore, all right? It's not... Again, this is a 31-degree bank track like we talked about in the pre-race. The transition for the banking, if you get to the first yellow line, you're okay. Get to the second one and you start to get that transition. Not going to end well for you here in the turns. It's certainly not going to end well for the guy sitting on your right.
No, and that's another thing to note. If there is a crash at some stage, it's going pretty well so far. If you're on the inside, you've got theoretically a better chance of missing it. You can hook a left and get down to the apron or the grass or whatever. If you're in the middle or on the top, you've got nowhere to go. You've either got the wall or another car. You're kind of screwed. You've got to hit the throttle, Days of Thunder style, hope for the best.
Maybe setting up for a pit stop, and not this time around, but we'll see. It could be, that window is here. It could be now.
What are we, lap 68? Yeah, it's about the time for the second round of pit stops. I think we saw most of the field start to come on lap 35, so lap 70, I think we'll see it again. Wonder whether we'll see some early pitters. Malik Ray was that solo guy to pit all by his lonesome earlier on. And now, I wonder if he'll do it again here, because however he did it, it seemed to work for him, even with no help. So, I mean, you start to sort of work out backwards what lap you need to pit on to make it home to the end. Lap 170, lap 160 something. It'll probably change for each driver depending on where they are in the pack, how much fuel they've been using. But if you can fill your car up to get to that lap, you're sweet. only issue there is you have got a green mark second attempt to contend with if we need it.
Got 3, is
no.
my understanding. Got 3 to deal with. But right now, everybody really on the stream strategy, it varies by maybe 2 laps max on all the guys at pit. So nobody has made an inclination to step out and try a different strategy, except for, of course, Jimmy Mullis, and his solution was to just get out of the race. So, seriously, until we see somebody drop out soon, and it doesn't look like they're going to do it this stint either, as we fast approach this next stop. I think everybody's going to keep it out here just as long as they can. Look for the bottom line to go first, and then the top line will take their run at it next time around. It's really up to Strauss. Everybody's watching the 3.
I wonder if there's any communication. Well, we got a few guys coming in from the second
here we go.
pack of cars, led by what's that? The 27.
Bobby Hogan
failed me there.
Yeah, Bobby Hogan, and we got Scott Lamb. Justin,
here we go.
All right, now we've got a bunch of cars coming off, peeling off the track.
Oh, that was quick. That might be a speeding penalty there. For I think it was a 35 as it flashed by the screen. Might be in a little bit of strife there. Had that thing completely locked up coming across the commitment cone. Yeah, you do have a little bit of leeway. If you come across a bit hot, if you get it slowed down quick enough, you can normally escape penalty. But that looks a little bit sketchy for him. We'll see where the rest of them come down here. Most of them, all of them, single filed out now, led by Donovan Strauss out of turn 4. Here comes Garrett Maines. And no one else.
I have no idea how Malik Ray saved the car on his pit entry. Just about broke it sideways right there at the line. And as he has shown time after time, he does it right at the line at speed.
The red that I saw flashing across the screen, all sorts of sideways.
It might have been actually. It wasn't pretty, but he made it work.
Yeah. All right. Surely this time, lap 72. They've been out there quite some time. We'll come down, get 4 tires, full 2 cans of fuel actually, and here we go. Donovan Strauss, Marcus Ruckman comes with. Everyone comes with. 3 cars stay out. And a few more from the further back in the lead pack, but over a dozen cars down into the lane now.
And that'll put David Brown to the lead. 7 peel off. David Brown, Will Norton, Liebert, Solis all stay out. I think they're probably going to peel off this time around. They're pushing it. Although they're getting to lap 36. They probably got one more in them if they want it. I don't know if it serves them any good to do it. They should probably go ahead and get in. And David Washington at the back of that little pack right there, he's got 37 laps on the car, so we know he's peeling off. And there he goes. Washington's off. He's not going to risk it.
Oh, sending smoke signals there from that pit entry, all by himself. Gonna struggle to stay over the pack there. And so Marcus Rockman leads them off pit road onto the racing surface. Donovan Strauss behind him. Here comes Malik Ray and Garrett Maines. They're hooked up very nicely. Surgeon and By on the outside. Malik Ray puts himself back into the provisional lead of the race. Steve Shaheen as well is going to go with them. And Justin Prince as well. So that's 4 guys that benefited from the earlier pit stop. We seem to see that quite often. The early pit stop works. And Shaheen, got to be careful. Make your decision. Right. He got caught in 2 minds there, it seems, between going to the inside and staying up top, and almost ended up on the right front of Marcus Rockman's machine.
Wow.
And this is what, 6 cars now in a breakaway here. Dylan Alt, in fact, just a bit of it off them. Should catch him here.
Ray on the backstretch, getting the push from Garrett Maines as they try to come around. We'll see if this group has got any chance of getting out in time. I just don't think they're still up on the jacks. The 22 is rolling. Solis is out. He's not going to lead him out. Brown will get out first. He was your leader. Let's see what this group has got here.
They're going to
Just
get run
see
over so quick.
Yeah, there they are in the background. You can see them coming across the start finish line. Malik Ray, Garrett Maines, and they're on their way.
A little bit tricky too on the cold tires coming out of this pit exit. You got to wind the car up pretty quickly, but very easy to brake sideways and maybe even catch some of the banking and cop a penalty for exiting pit lane too soon. As they go by the pit exit cars, Marcus Ruckman makes the move to the outside and will get the help from Donovan Strauss in the 3. But they'll peter out their run, and the 7 of Pasaska, will actually fill that hole and benefit 2 spots. That inside hooked up pretty well, actually. Because, this is a big, messy pack of cars now. That group of guys, Daniel Brown, they've pretty much filtered into this lead group of cars.
They have.
And this was perfect for them. They weren't anywhere near these guys, and now they're right up there with them.
They didn't cock up those pit stops. They all came in perfectly. It was an amazing pack of cars as they came in, and I loved it. They did a good job transitioning back and getting back in the draft here.
Helps too when you come out of pit lane and they're already on your bumper. You can get up to speed very quickly indeed, which was what we saw there. Now Malik Ray's down to the inside once more, giving the push to Garrett Maines. And Shaheen, I don't think he's managed to lead the inside all race long. Is going to try to do it with a big push from Pataskas on the outside. Hopefully clear and get down that inside line. Quite a few new faces now to familiarise yourself with up in this leading group of cars. The 18 of Daniel Brown, the 22 of Solis Jr., Ryan Hart in the 15, Will Norton in the 11. A lot of new guys up here.
Jonesy, how many of endurance races have you got, buddy?
A few.
Fatigue. We're coming close here to the halfway point. Fatigue sets in. Now, these are all great drivers. They've got the credentials to prove it, but you just never know which one of them might have pushed themselves to the limit today in real life. Maybe had a good workout at the gym. Maybe did something else, and maybe they're a little tired.
Maybe they went for a 15-mile hike like you did before the race.
Maybe we won't go there. Maybe, but again, it's a factor. And I say endurance race, and people automatically their minds go to road racing. Trust me, the Daytona 500 endurance race, the mother of all endurance races, left at 200 miles an hour around this famous trial is pressure, baby, and we're seeing the best really perform well tonight under this pressure. Is the field up front is line of stern, but guess what? Got a couple cars working on the top here, maybe starting to experiment a little bit, and they've got a few cars right behind them on the way. On with David Lamb as he's chasing that high line. Right behind Jonathan Dalrymple. Couple of cars that are really just about where they started in this field.
Yeah, pretty much, and this is about as tame as we've seen the front of the field too. The top 10 cars, all single file. The outside led by Jonathan Dalrymple, going backwards in fact even. And Atchison's going to force the issue in the middle. The 23 gives him plenty of room there. And that was David Lamb just offering up the inside. Thankfully he did. Keeps himself out of trouble. Just noticed too, a couple of lapped cars up in the mix here as well. Josh Mickelmore is a lap down, currently in prime position to be the lucky dog should the caution come out just up in this leading group. Is up front. Marcus Ruckman makes an aggressive move to the outside, immediately followed by the 3 of Donovan Strauss, and Noel's going to move up there as well. So now the outside starting to move along, starting to get some numbers up there, and starting to look like the lane to be as they'll start to make their way forward here, lap by lap.
Ryan, the top 25 right now, separated by just over 2 seconds. Okay? 25. We started 36. You got to go all the way back to Boyd Hagen. Yeah, or is that? No, that's Hagen. Boyd Hagen, the Canadian, It's back there in 26, and he's got a pack behind him. You know, I've talked about a magic number early in this race and what it took to get to the front if you're off pace. Now, you're 28 seconds back, so you're really, really far back. What do you got to do to make inroads? Well, you got to stay in line, and I think that magic number is probably about 5 cars, and that's 5 cars working with the same goal in mind. Okay, 5 cars that are steady, again, have the same mission, and that's catching that front pack. Few too many cars in this one, and I don't know if we've seen enough of these drivers be consistent enough to bring them forward. So they've got a long road to hoe here with, again, 28 seconds separating them from that front pack.
Yeah, I think if the front pack would maybe 2 it, maybe 3 wide, quite deep, you'd see those second group of cars start to catch with 30 seconds drift and fading, really. In this last couple laps, they've dropped quite a bit. They're still dropping now, so could see quite a lot of cars go a lap down. About 6 or 7 guys this race. Could end up with just top 5 for the lap.
And that group is turning 46. Is this the all 25 that I talked about? They're still turning 45s. And that's seconds, people. And I think we all are on the same unit of measurement for that. Are we not, Ryan?
Yeah,
seconds.
That's the one thing the Americans haven't messed with and gone for some wacky measurement that no one else in the world uses. I'm about to get crucified in the YouTube chat, I think, for that. Listen,
it's real simple. If a 9/16 isn't big enough, then you use a 7/8. I mean, it's quite as simple as that. It really is. I just don't know what else to say. I don't know how else I can help you there, Jonesy.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got no clue. All I know is that Marcus Ruckman almost got turned by Donovan Strauss. I'm very surprised that car did not hook. He moved up to the outside to get the push from Strauss, and Strauss had a hard time lining up the push. Almost caught his right rear. Almost caught his left rear on the engine corner too. And Ruckman, trying to play both lines, almost came unstuck there. And now Shaheen makes that aggressive move up there to the outside. A lot of drivers playing hardball out there today, making some very close moves.
Yeah, but it's the same cast of characters at the front, isn't it? I mean, we're again the cream rising to the top. We've been talking about these same drivers here for quite a while. Strauss has been up there, Maines, Ruckman. So Ray came up into this field before the end of the first stint. So did Steve Sheehan. So I don't think it's a great secret that we haven't seen a caution flag yet. We've got a bunch of quality drivers here at the front. Man, I want to give a shout out again though to my buddy Justin Prince, man, because you made a point about his iRating and how he had the lowest one going into this race. Listen, $5,000 in iRating, not too shabby, okay? But Justin has been really solid, man. He's been a great partner, and he's been in the same position through 2 stints now of green flag racing.
Yeah, just quietly keeping himself at the front pack here, not making aggressive moves like we're seeing from a few of the other drivers. Just keeping himself out of trouble, putting himself in the right spot, and just hanging in there at the moment. So come the end of the race, who knows if he'll still be there. Lap 86 of 200, not even at the halfway mark yet. It's a long one, the Daytona 500. Yeah. I'm
honestly, I'm gobsmacked though that we're actually almost the halfway point. Again, we've seen a lot of Daytona 500s over the past week. I've seen a few more races at Daytona, not all 500s, but this has been the MO in most of those races, and that's not a bad thing. It's been very competitive. We've seen a lot of wild moves so far. Now guys are starting to get a little patient again. We've got the new off of those tires from the last pit stop. We're 16 laps in, so we're about halfway through this run. And we started to see him go back to single file racing, still trying to work the top line. I think guys want to keep using that up there, keep the rubber up there, and keep it for later when teammates can get together there on the top side and maybe make a run for the front that would get one driver past that bottom line and into the lead for the win.
We both worked together on the American split of the Majors 500, didn't we? And how long did that race go green? That was quite some distance too. It was like
6. I think it was just north of 150. I think it was like 161 or 162 when that caution came out. It was incredible. I honestly, I began to think we weren't going to get one at all, and then that broke loose. And I think they still only wound up with 2 caution flags in that Daytona 500. And all of a sudden, we're seeing a drop there. Malik Ray fading back, guys. I think he's getting out of the mess, and he's going to drop in line. And look who he's gotten behind. Right behind Seth Knoll. He knows Knoll's fast and probably not a bad car to follow.
The outside not really happening, with the exception of those 2 cars up front, Shaheen and the 35 of Dalrymple. They're not making much progress either. This is just that middle portion of the race where everyone just settles in. You know, there's really no reason to be aggressive.
Who was that? Was that Will Cooley? I think it was. Had a wild ride. Maybe it wasn't Will. Someone had a wild ride there down to the apron. It was a Mustang. Anyway, got a little loose off the turn and took it all the way down to the apron. It might have been David Brown, actually, because he's actually lost a couple positions now. I think it was his car, even though he's in a Camaro. And I said it was a Mustang, but no, a little bit of trouble, and halfway through the run, cars starting to get a little, what we talked about before, these tires starting to show a little bit of give, a little squirrely back there.
Should mention too, if you've got a teammate in this race or a buddy in this race and you notice that you're not seeing their normal paint scheme on screen, make sure you let them know once it's done for future rounds and weeks and races to head over to the SimSpeed website, create an account if they don't have one already, and upload their livery to the paint booth for the NASCAR iRacing series, and we can see their scheme in all its glory. I think we got about 18, 20 cars uploaded for this one, maybe just under. It'd be good to see a full 37 car split if everyone's uploaded their liveries.
I'll have to be sure to get that update, because I'm not seeing the same thing, but that's on me. That's not on you. And moving down to the bottom, Donovan Strauss makes a bold move there in front of Dallas Pataska. But there's one Mustang left up top. Got no help. Got to find a spot to get in line here.
Hey, I said we had 18 and 20 liveries uploaded. I didn't say they were all in top split. We got a few guys in bottom split uploading their livery, and hey, all power to them if they make it into top split. I think we're going to see quite a few different drivers in the top split over the course of the season.
All right, Atchison fooled me, by the way. I was making a big deal about his papyrus scheme earlier. It actually, and this again, because I can't see anything, according to you, Ryan, or hear anything. That says platypus and not papyrus. So he got me. Joke's on me. Great, I love that though. Ryan, do you know what a platypus is?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Damn, I can't actually.
Oh no.
I promise I know what a platypus is. I just can't describe it. It's a weird looking thing.
It's a mammal.
Yeah. Actually.
Yeah, and it's actually native to your country. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Oh god.
And also they have them in Tasmania too, by the way.
Yeah, we don't associate with Tasmania.
Does anybody? I'm just curious. Now I'm starting an international incident.
All fun and games. We love Tasmania.
We do. Yes, we do. I'm an equal opportunity offender, by the way. So it's Tasmania today. It may be Shanghai tomorrow. I don't know. So there we go. So I just called out Shanghai. That's probably not a good idea, actually. I got to be a little. All right, I'm shutting it now. Go ahead, Johnson.
I think when we get to the halfway point, if we're still green, we'll probably head to a little break. Maybe after the pit stop cycle comes through, so we can stop talking absolute nonsense.
Yeah. Well, no, let's not screw up the pit cycle, okay?
Yeah, we'll get the pit cycle out of the way.
Yes.
It should be coming up in about 10 or so laps, I actually believe.
We're already talking about another one coming up here, and this time we don't have any of that too wide racing. Everybody is holding form right now, just in one line. Back here, that's that group that we were talking about earlier, Devin Morgan, Boyd Hagen, and you can see the times dropped even more. It's gone about 5 seconds more behind than the last time we checked on them. And again, it's still the same story. That front group running 45s, they're stuck back there running 46s, so not getting it right now, unfortunately. Look at that up front. Again, it's just everybody behaving right now. I almost get the feeling they don't want to ruin a good thing. So when do you start to go? Last 3 laps? Last lap?
I mean, if you're at the front, if you're in these first 3 cars, you don't want to go to the final lap of the race. But if you're back in the field in the 20s, in the 30s, if you're a lap down, you got to make something happen before you get within 20 laps, because you need to be at the front. Because when we get to those final few laps, I think the field's going to be caught 3 wide, and you're going to have nowhere to go. You can't make 4 wide work at Daytona. I mean, well you can, but it doesn't work without a hitch going somewhere.
And we have a couple of meteorologists in the chat who fear that the cloud cover may lead to rain here at some point, Ryan. That might be the only way we get a caution flag here tonight.
I somehow doubt we're going to see any rain in this race. Maybe in the future, although I don't know whether when rain is eventually introduced to iRacing, I'm sure it will be one day. #soon. I mean, it'll be quite the addition. I don't think we'll ever see it implemented for the oval races, because there's no point in having a rain on oval, because beyond red flag conditions, it's all about simulation, but I don't think anyone wants to simulate sitting in the pit lane for 30 minutes till the rain passes.
No. Maybe as instead of sitting for 20 minutes during a rain delay with just a bunch of rubbish, maybe what you could do is go to like old races, like they do occasionally. We could watch the 1987 Daytona 500 in its edited form. I don't know, just a suggestion, just a thought.
I mean,
okay. That suggestion is already leading to a Juan Pablo Montoya joke, and I don't like it. Okay, that's it. The suggestion was something about jet dryers, but I just don't want to talk about jet dryers.
Drivers can head out on the track and use the jet dryers to dry out the track. Have a jet dryer 500. That'd be quite the sight, but I don't think it would end particularly well. Certainly, if someone was running a Juan Pablo Montoya scheme out on the track, you'd probably want to get a big old wad of bubble wrap around your truck before he came along.
Listen, I'm going to create controversy now and say there's nothing wrong with Juan Pablo Montoya. He's one of my favorite drivers. I think he was a quality race car driver in anything he ever set foot in. So, and just won an esports event, a sim racing event. I believe took home about $4,000. So Juan's still taking home the wins, baby. Still knocking them down. This kid's probably about 30 years younger.
Bad push.
Yeah, it's bad push.
Jonathan Strauss. That was almost that one moment that can create the chaos. Brockman did a good job to hold on to that one, because Noel was really close to his right side door.
Ryan, just like that, we've completed half of the Daytona 500. The Daytona 250 is in the books.
have a feeling the second half's going to take a little bit longer than the first half. Once we get that first caution, if we get it, you get that feeling, Sean, it's going to turn into a bit of a stop-start affair. The cautions read cautions, and drivers will start to get frantic and want to put themselves at the front, and that's when the incidents happen. And we'll start to see more and more mistakes happening out on track, I think.
Well, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. We're on our way to a record Daytona 500, not just in the sim racing world, but in the real world as well. There are a lot of records here at Daytona, but one of the more outstanding ones would be Buddy Baker, 1980, I believe, who still holds the record for the fastest Daytona 500. I was there for that race, Ryan.
When was that, like the 1930s, year around then?
That was 1980, Jonesy, 80.
So you would have been about in your 40s or 50s?
Okay, I'm going there with you. I was a kid once. I promise you, I really was. Once.
Way back in the day, you were a kid. Way back. Did they have computers?
Very, very large ones with very bright green screens. Yes, we did.
Take about the length of this Daytona 500 just to boot it up. It's crazy though. I mean, jokes aside, from when you were younger, I mean, no doubt technology's advanced. I mean, there's no way you ever thought of this would be a thing. You never thought you'd be sat here commentating a virtual Daytona 500.
No. No, that was... No, 10 years ago, that wasn't even on my radar, to be really honest. But as a child, no, I never imagined that. But like I said in the intro, one thing really hasn't changed, and that's the speed. They were running pretty close to 200 miles an hour back then as well, in what were more stock cars than they are now. They were still race cars, trust me. They were very much race cars. But they certainly didn't possess the tech that we're seeing now in this era of NASCAR. And, that's just what's made Daytona and Dega always just great. Since they... And you know what? As I'm babbling on about Daytona and the great history here, we're starting to see pit stops here from the back.
That second group of cars that was about to get run down by the lead group dive down to the lane, and they'll take their service, and that leaves just two guys out there to fend off the leaders. And that means we'll start to see those lead guys come down in a lap or so. Marcus Ruckman leading Donovan Strauss on the inside. Noel and Atchison trying to make something happen up top, but we've just not got the help out there. Taskas and Maines just filling the hole on the inside and not allowing them to get down into a position where they can pit us. Taskas dives down the lane and nobody else.
I saw one other car peel off. I'm trying to see who that is. It was a Campbell that came off with Pataska. There it was. So he does have a partner. May not need it if he can get back out into the pack, though.
Yeah, indeed. And now we're seeing that outside drop and everyone gets down to the inside. Atchison gets down there. He's going to let Noel get down there too. And the 35, I dare say, will be allowed room down. That's Stellar and pull up there. Although Dustin Prince is having none of that. He's going to fill that hole real quick. And as they come off of turn number 4, all eyes on Marcus Ruckman and Donovan Strauss out front. Will they pull the trigger? No, they won't. But the last of that second group in front of the pit, Mally Gray gets his car down in the pit lane in typical Mally Gray fashion.
Yeah, typical. You're not wrong. You saw that in the majors race. Every pit stop, man, he is in hot. Way hot. Probably way hotter than anybody should be, and he seems to make it work out every time. Lots of practice.
The car just dances to a stop right at the line. It's amazing accuracy, actually, from Malik to get that stopped. And all out of pit lane now. No issues really for any of them.
I know he's got a direct drive wheel. I'm shocked he hasn't suffered any wrist injuries from snapping that thing coming into the pit lane.
No one else really from that lead group. Saw a couple guys come down. Garrett Maines with Josh Micklemore down into the lane. Alrighty, so I just noticed too, Ruckman and Strauss have opened up a big gap back to Will Cooley and Co in third, and here they come down into pit lane. Noel and Atchison will stay out. Most of the others will pit. That's about a dozen cars once again, and all of them got it stopped before the pit lane speed line, or the commitment cone, whatever you want to call it. Sideways, diving into his pit box, and this is going to be a crucial pit exit for these guys. See where they filter out compared to the few that pitted a little bit earlier, and got two cars, Seth, Noel and Atchison, just a little bit of a breakaway over the rest of the lead pack behind them. Solis Jr., Washington, Hart, I think those guys have all actually pitted already, so although Atchison and Noel we know hadn't pitted. So this is interesting. None of this group have pitted, with the exception of one person. Right at the back, the 21 of... He's 2 laps down though, but in a good spot to potentially get himself a lap back, and there's a huge mess of cars just heading into turn 3. Drivers sorting themselves out. Of people that have just pitted. Almost contact between Lamp and Malik Ray, but they sorted out.
Atchison out, and Noel right behind him. Noel, I'm sorry, I called him Noel. It's not Christmas time. And the field screams past him, and they will catch up here pretty quick. So Seth now off strategy, obviously, after we got used to seeing him up front.
So that is there. Most of the field pitted and sorted out.
Looks like Washington going to be the last one.
Washington. What we'll do is we'll go to a break. We'll go side by side here on Speed TV on the iRacing Esports Network for some highlights from the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series coming up for you. And we'll be back with the last half of the NASCAR iRacing Series Daytona 500.
Of a new decade and a new era, where from the virtual Daytona International Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the 2020 season opener of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. As we say, let's go racing from Daytona. Round 1 of the Coke Series era is green. So much contact, Overland leaning on him. He was right up against the fence, and I think the saving grace is that when that 3 car came by, a very smart move by the 46 machine of Mullis to back off and give Reynolds an escape route. Logan Clampett may have an option to hit the eject button. He is second online on the outside. Here we come for the final time at a turn 4. Leahy holds the bottom. Ottinger's gonna get a shove. They're gonna wreck behind in a photo finish, and it's good enough on the inside. Keegan Leahy, by 4 1/1000ths of a second, wins the season opener at Daytona. and we'll relive all of the action on the final lap here. You're going to see the wreck coming from behind, but Ottinger had a whale of a push from Logan Clampett. You can see 4-5 wide crashing. In fact, most of the wreck, it actually happens beyond the start-finish line, so I think most drivers going to be okay with where they finished, but it is up front, those first 5 cars that were able to stay together.
Yeah, Bobby Bryant went to the inside, almost anticipating something was going to happen here by the looks of it. And actually, that's the 47 car going to the inside line. But you mentioned it, Evan. They're 4 or 5 wide. They're kind of sliding across the line. And after that, all heck breaks loose. Graham Bolin goes for a wild ride in the 18 car, up and over, and everybody else sliding afterwards. But for the most part, I don't want to call them pinballs, but that's pretty much what they were coming across the line. Look at all those cars going across, but they made it 100 laps.
Bad push.
Welcome back to the Daytona 500 for week 1 of the NASCAR iRacing series. We still are green on lap 116, caution free so far, but not without incident. During the ad break, take a look at this. Talk us through it, Sean.
It's going to result in what really ends this is a bad push from the one up top on Malik Ray, and it just sends him around. They had just come off the turn. They were trying to get synced back up and just didn't quite match those bumpers up right. And Malik just a hard shunt there, and the inside retaining barrier there, and gone from this race. Just like that.
Out the 18 as well, which is David Brown. So big shame for those guys. From the front of the field they wrecked, and yet somehow they wrecked down to the apron, so we stay green. But it's looking a little bit more energized up here at the front now.
Okay, although Brown's not out of this race, and he's not terribly wrecked, he's actually got an interesting partner now in Seth Knoll. So, I don't know. What do we got here? We may have something. We may have 2 cars that can work together a little bit, but they are, well, they're about 23 laps, or I'm sorry, 23 seconds back. But certainly not out of it. And again, I'm just not seeing any real damage on David's car.
May have escaped that one then. And we'll see if they can come back later on in the race. So the first incident.
It's no question.
Yeah, stay green. And the race led by Ryan Hartz now down on the, or up actually on top, on the outside line. Boyd Hogan is a lap down, leading the inside. Whee! Aggressive move from Hearts. Up top, the 27 now leading the line. That's Scott Lamb. Will Norton down on the inside. Shaheen up top. Missing quite a lot of the drivers that were at the front for the first two stints. And Boyd Horgan, it should be mentioned, is in that lucky dog spot now if a caution were to come out. 23 cars on the lead lap with Jonathan Dalrymple 43 seconds adrift, about to go a lap down. Going to be left with the 22 car field here on the leading lap as they make their way by Dalrymple. 81 laps to go and we come across the line.
And we creep a little bit further into the afternoon. The clouds start to separate. We get sunshine on this track. Temperature on track, though, really not changed a bunch since we started. It's still 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's, what is it, about 41 degrees Celsius, I think, something like that. Okay, I'm wrong again. Last time I'm doing your messed up metric conversion. I'm not doing it again. Just not.
I think it's
Just
your
not.
messed up metric conversion.
It's not. Here
we go. Shaheen goes to the outside, leaves the 27 out to dry. The 27 actually going to try his best to get some jump on the inside. Doing a good job of it, actually.
Side draft. Yes, sorry, it works.
You know, he gets Hey, good save there from the 27 of...
Okay, now here's the problem. He's got a car next to him.
This is not great.
Struggling with the connection. Yeah.
I can't
Garrett
actually find him on the leaderboard. What's his...
Garrett Maines. He's still showing P3 on my... Well, he's moving right now, but I'm still showing him P3, down to P4 in this pack, but struggling with the connection right now.
It's Garrett Maines to 27. I'm trying to figure out who it is, because I can't see him on the damn leaderboard. That's why he's lapped down. I'm going to go further down.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Scott Lamb. Scott Lamb is lapped down. Hogan bought the lucky dog position. That's why he's racing so aggressively here, because this can decide whether he has a chance to be up there at the end of this race or not if the caution comes out. I tell you what, I'm shocked they didn't wreck then, because that was some real aggressive side drafting.
I got the paints and the numbers all wrong and everything, and I'm trying to follow these guys with what you guys have actually got on screen, and I just keep messing it up.
Oh, there he goes, and around in front of the field. That is the crash that'll bring out the caution, and it stems from Garrett Maines getting a bit loose off of turn number 2. That sends the field scattering, and a big crash to bring out caution number 1 of the Daytona 500.
Took us 123 laps, and again, it was another bad push off the turn just as they were trying to get back in sync. Fortunately, a lot of drivers managed to get through this. Not the big junk that we associate with the big one.
And yeah, it was an interesting one, the setup, or the car I should say. It just broke loose with Garrett Maines coming out of the corner, drifted up the track a little bit, tried to regather it, and the car just fired itself down to the left-hand side. And unfortunately, a few cars were collecting that. You see it right there.
Yeah.
Collect.
I don't even, yeah, that wasn't. No, go ahead, Josie. Finish your thought.
I don't have much of a thought other than I'm surprised there was only 5 cars involved in that.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was a bad push. It wasn't that at all. That was arrow loose off the turn, every bit of it. No net code, none of that. Just arrow loose. And you know, we're at that halfway mark again, right? You don't see any contact. It just got loose about halfway through the tire run, and tires get a little squirrely, but. Bad deal for Maines there, but he's going to stay on the lead lap as a result of it. No harm, no foul. The car doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how many of the drivers involved in this might have escaped without damage. I also wonder what this does to the perplexion of our race now.
Well, Maines...
I mean, at this point now, it's only only. 60, math please, 75 laps to go at this stage, about 72 when we go green. I mean, drivers are going to be more aggressive now. We could see more of this. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Looks like Liebert picked up a little right front damage. Maines does have a little bit of damage on the rear end of the car.
Two cars opted not to pit under this caution. And a few guys will be trying to get a wave around out of all of this. And a lucky dog position. Actually, who gets the lucky dog here? Because they were racing up in that lead group of guys. It was Boyd Hogan. So Hogan got the lucky dog, managed to escape without getting a contact in that. Because if you do get a contact when the caution comes out, you don't get that lucky dog.
Ding, ding, ding. Right, exactly. You don't. If you're involved in that caution in any way, shape, or form, just like NASCAR, you don't you don't get the dog. And looks like Devin Morgan, who was is our leader now, down on the apron. Not sure what the play is here. I'm sure he's not saving fuel. Probably setting up to come in this time round.
This is actually a great time for a caution in terms of the fuel run. Because they just pit one more time and they'll make it home. So it's actually quite nice. Just looking at the laps cars, Sean Timmerman is going to pit. So he won't take the wave around. The rest of them will. So 5 cars will take the wave around to get themselves back on the lead lap. They'll be hoping for another quick caution so they can come down and get themselves back onto the lead lap. Or the majority of the lead lap cars have got in terms of the strategy here. Because otherwise, if they don't, they're going to be quite out of sequence with their fuel numbers.
Well, I was about to give you the record for the Daytona 500 and wondered if we would maybe beat that. We may still have a shot at it. It was 2 hours and 48 minutes set by Buddy Baker there in 1980 in the old number 28. In fact, Dale Jr. ran a tribute scheme that Buddy Baker, believe, I'm trying to remember that car had a nickname, and it's slipping my mind right now. That particular paint job had a nickname, and Junior ran that maybe the year before he retired from the sport. He ran that car. It was really, really cool looking. It was a good throwback. Like I said, being at that race was really cool. One of the things that's really cool is where I got to watch it from. We stayed in the infield in 1980, and I actually got to sit just behind the fence. If you could believe this, there was a fence that you could actually walk up to behind pit lane that sat maybe 10 yards. That would be, I believe that would be about, 6 meters or something like that. I don't know. I'm not doing that again. I said I wasn't doing that again. But anyway, you could actually sit against that fence in like a lawn chair. And that's what I did. I watched that Daytona 500 from the end of pit lane just behind that fence. And of course, we are talking about another era, so there weren't any jumbotrons or anything to watch the race on. So basically, I saw them come across the start-finish line 200 times. And that's all the race I saw from that vantage point.
9 meters. Your conversion was horribly wrong. A few drivers pitting again to get a little bit of extra fuel, because don't forget, it is pretty good, pretty on point in terms of 200 laps, but if you get 3 green white checkered attempts, you're going to want the extra 6 laps of fuel in the tank. You can save a bit, but not that much.
Three.
What?
I said 3 green white checkered attempts.
Yeah,
that's a
6
lot.
laps.
That's actually, it's a lot of mileage in these cars. So your point about getting more, always valid. Always valid.
4 guys get their lap back to the lead lap. Now 28 drivers. There's 4 drivers a single lap down. Esteban Rodriguez has dropped 2 laps down now. It was Will Cooley, Josh Mickelmore, Timu Tuika, fan favorite, and Zach Hudson that get their lap back. Alrighty then, let's, yeah?
I'm not shy. I support Fat Timu. I'm not shy. I've supported Fat Timu for years now. I was one of his early supporters, in fact. I don't want to call myself the president of the Fat Timu movement, but I've definitely been on that train for a while. So hats off and cheers to Fat Timu. Here we go.
Green flag back in the air. We're racing once more. The first restart of the day. Nice and even between Hearts and Mains. Off the front row, the 31 going to be the best pusher here with Joshua Campbell onto the back of Hearts. Mains going to have to await his help from Pataskas on that high line. And guess who's there again? Justin Prince. Going to move himself into third here. The outside going nowhere off this restart.
Not a bad restart, but they are spreading out quick. But you know what? That doesn't matter at Daytona because we back bunched up here just as quickly as they spread out.
Campbell swung out wide from behind the wake of Ryan Hartz, wanting to take it away with the help of Garrett Mains up on the top line. 2 cars against 3. It's going to be 4 on the inside. Going to have to wait for someone else to come up and give them a push up top. The 32. About 4 or so car lengths back and closing is getting there. That's Sean Timmerman, who is a lap down, so actually starting to play himself into the rocket dog position here. We'll come up and give him a hand as he gets closer and closer. Down the back straight we go. Pataskas just moving out of line there. Doesn't really want it to go up top or not, but gonna have to just sit there and give a push to Prince and Hearts now. As I tell you what, the 31 is almost clear out front.
Almost. Not quite. But you mentioned the name Prince. There he is again. He managed to pull off a good pit stop. Finds himself still back at the front of his field. Hart's definitely a newcomer to this group.
Campbell takes it away, goes to the inside, and the inside just dissipated there. Prince lifted off and goes to the top. There's 2 cars against 3 now. The outside with all the momentum led by Garrett Mains, who clears Campbell. Timmerman's going to clear him as well. And Timmerman makes the aggressive move down to the inside of Garrett Mains, trying to lead the pack from a lap down here, putting himself in the best spot he can for the potential of another caution if he gets that lucky dog. But Pataskas going to push Mains back clear of Timmerman.
Fighting a little hard for that lucky dog. Still 69 laps to go in this race. It's sorted out. Mains back to the front. Now Timmerman's got to work with Mains here. And this would be good for Timmerman, actually. This is a good spot for him to be in. It's actually a better spot than up in the lead because he can help the leader of this race. And, well, let's face it, if anything happens at this point, hopefully it's between those two. They're not involved. He gets his lap back. So good strategy by him. Top line starting to move again. Jonesy, just as I say that, make a liar out of him. JP goes back on the bottom.
You caught me with my mouth full, damn it.
Wait a minute. You guys allow eating on the air? Wait, whoa. It's
a long race, man.
That's an FCC violation here in the United States. There's no eating allowed on the air, ever. No eating on the air. I'm starving right now, and this guy's eating.
Gotta keep the energy up.
I'll get some chicken nuggets when we're done. How's that sound, Jonesy?
Sounds good.
Yeah. That's what I've been told.
So Garrett Mains here, back on the outside, hasn't been able to clear Sean Zimmerman. And he's getting help from the 27, so there's a couple lap cars up here.
Yeah.
In this group. I believe it's Scott Lamb, isn't it, with the started early, the 27 machine?
Yes.
It is. And he now is the lucky dog, the 26. What a run from him.
Where did he come from? Where did he come from?
from the 21 machine. Are these guys a lap down too? Yeah.
Fellow, yeah, then that 26.
So of the 6 or 5 cars that are side by side at the front of the field, 4 of them are a lap down.
And if you're the leaders of the race up in the middle of this here, are you nervous? Because you haven't raced with these guys all day long, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, that's that wild card I was talking about. You know, most of these guys, you know who you're running with, you've been running with them for a while, and then all of a sudden, basically 2/3 of the way into this race, that complexion changes a little bit, and now you've got some new guys to figure out here, as we got a car up top giving way to the leaders as they come by.
This is a great battle for the lucky dog spot here, because it's such an important position to be in, because if you get that one caution, and there's only one more caution left in this race, it's pretty much your only option to get back on the leader. In saying that, if we get 4 or 5 more cautions, all of them could end up back on the lead lap. So,
Oh.
just sorted themselves out now. Boyd Hogan just sitting off the back of Justin Vitello and Matthew Bell, who gaps about a car length, but that'll come down pretty quickly. 3 laps cars leading the train. Oh, sorry, 2 laps cars leading the train. Boyd Hogan is on the lead lap ahead of Garrett Maines, and the outside's coming strong again.
It is.
Who is that?
Starting to move, Josie.
Yeah, Justin Prince pushing Esteban Rodriguez. Hey, guess what? Another lap car.
Another lap car.
The outside line.
With another lap car right behind him. That's Will Norton in the 11, just behind Prince. We've seen Prince up there quite a bit, actually.
The NIS Daytona 500. Revenge of the lap car. I give up. I mean, it's actually, you don't often see this many lapped cars at the front of the field. We occasionally see 1 or 2 fighting that lucky dog spot who, you know, run into trouble, but such was the pace of this race. So many people just ran into issues in pit road and ended up a lap down through no fault of their own, really, other than pit road's a pain to get down onto. And they've still got the pace to win this race. They just need to put themselves in the right spot to do it. I mean, we've still got 62 laps to go. So, I mean, they're not out of it by any means.
No. Prince was allowed to move down right there. Get right in between, we're getting in right behind Boyd. And that is the 35, taking another lap down. Still in this race, Jonathan Dalrymple.
But one annoying thing of having so many laps cars up here, as a commentator, it can actually be a little bit tricky to work out who's actually leading the race in this little group without looking at the leaderboard.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I think it's Boyd Hogan. It is. That about 5th in line now.
I have like 3 different points of reference right now for who's in the lead, and I don't think any of them are right. So, but it's okay. I'm working through it, man. Working through it. I'll be better next time, I promise.
Esteban Rodriguez leading the outside line with help from Sean Timmerman, trying to power around the 26 of Justin Vitello and Matthew Bell in front of him, leading the inside. The 27 is back there as well. Will Waters on the inside. So there's now 6 cars in front of the leaders, who I think have actually all just decided, screw this, we're lifting off. And they'll let them go and they can battle it out. What that's done, though, is they're all actually on the lead lap now. They're not actually a lap down anymore.
Well, right, they're all ahead of the leaders, so yes, they're technically not a lap down.
So if the caution comes out now, suddenly there's 6 more cars in contention.
You know, I was making an observation a few minutes ago. It looks like they were busy with the sledgehammer in the pits there on Norton's car, as they've been made a lot of aero adjustments to the rear deck of that car. But the 27 finding some safety behind it.
Oh, Esteban Rodriguez moving down, and Justin Prince taking the evasive action down onto the apron to avoid him. Lucky there for Rodriguez. Just got to check those moves just a little bit.
Justin and Boyd Hagen locked in a battle, but you wouldn't know it because they're not at the front. I know we brought it up a couple times now, but this right now, with a little bit more than 58 laps to go at the line, has turned into what you just said, Jonesy, a battle for the lucky dog, or to just stay on this lead lap right now for the back of the field.
The only issue is they're going to have to pit soon, because I think to put themselves in this position, they stayed out in the last pit stop on the caution. So there's never mind. There's
yeah, no, they have to pit. And who is that peeling off out of that group? Or we just had someone do it? Was it? I think it was Lamp. It was actually Lamp came off. 27 into his box. Scott Lamp peels off. He had 14 laps on the car, up for tires. Something has happened to David Hogan. I'm sorry, Boyd Hogan. Glad I didn't call him Paul. That was a joke, Jonesy. You're not getting it.
I got it. I just didn't find it funny.
Okay, all right. Well, I tried again, and he failed. He shoots, and he didn't score. So there you go.
Missed it by. Yeah, so
Hogan is out of the car.
He's out of this one. Internet failed him.
That's sad. That's put in a lot of work there, and well, with about 58 laps to go, it ends for him there.
Four cars now leading the leaders. And Shaheen's going to make a strong move to the outside of Atchison and Brown here. Brown's got himself back up there. I swear he's been a lap down twice in this race. And trying to make it work. There's a small gap to his inside if he wants to take it. If he doesn't take it, probably for the better. And just behind them, Esteban Rodriguez is in position for the lucky dog at the moment too. As long as none of those laps cars get gobbled up by the leaders again.
Okay, so we're hearing Timu right now is actually slotted to get that lucky dog if the caution were to come out. And we're back to the brand of racing that we saw for most of the race tonight.
Oh yeah, no, of course, yeah, because Rodriguez is 2 laps down. So, no lucky dog for him. Yeah, Timo Toyka and Mickelmore working together around the back of the circuit, both in a lap down.
Field got a couple of cars in front of him that they're coming up on here. I'm trying to cycle around and see who that is. It's Will Cooley moving out of the way, but they're catching him in the worst spot right here in the middle of the turn. Cooley high, wide, and out of trouble.
Shaheen's been able to stay on that outside line pretty well. I think it shows that Atchison and Brown, they're not really going full throttle here. They're just riding at the moment, because normally you wouldn't see a single car on the outside hold station like here.
Scott Lamp about to get eaten up here by the field as they come through. Lamp, though, staying down on the bottom, now starts to move up. Maybe a little late there. I don't know. Maybe just trying to get every kind of advantage you can of it. Still in the middle of the track, drifts up a little bit now. That does allow Shaheen to get through. Sheehan, I'm sorry. I said Shaheen.
I think Lamp just trying to get himself up involved in this lead group of cars, but still going to fall back to about 9th or 10th in the group here, and he was 2 laps down as well, so not even really fighting for a lucky dog spot, although he is fighting Rodriguez, I think, for position now, and they're side by side actually.
I like Lamp. I wanted to get that out there.
Massive wave of silence over the air after that one.
Yes, yeah, another one. Just, man, I'm really, oh, geez, I almost made a bomb joke. I'm not doing that. I'm just staying away from that. No bomb jokes, folks. Sorry. I had to shut that series down. Whole book of jokes just gone. Can't talk about those anymore.
Here comes Sean Timmerman with a big push from Steve Shaheen behind him. Oh, that's a lapped car on the inside. No, don't do that. Who is that? The 35, making an absolute pest of himself. That's Jonathan Dunn.
Dalrymple, yeah,
Dalrymple,
he's laps down. He's around.
I think we're going to say Green is down on the apron.
Yeah, and that was David Brown. I don't know that it was his fault, but he's the one who made the contact with him, and there was contact there in the middle of the turn, and David Brown's actually going to get a little right front damage as well, and the caution is out.
Another incident. Hey, Lamp is going for a wild ride at Daytona International Speedway. Hey, he landed it on all 4 wheels, but that is a separate incident that has unfolded on the same lap to bring out the second caution right on lap 150.
And Lamp was up there near that front group, and
he got turned.
Yeah,
And it has somehow ended up on his lid after being turned. Like, he gathered it up and was getting going. How's he done that?
I'm watching it now because he spun into the backstretch, gets the car going again, gets it back up on track. He spins it. He loops it as he was coming back onto the track. That's what brings the caution out. He literally looped it. He came back above the double yellow line, and the cars were coming through. And then he got slammed. I'm trying to see who that was. Was it Zach Hudson? I think it was Zach Hudson. In fact, it was Zach Hudson. Zach Hudson, his view totally blocked by the 33 of Josh Micklemore. Micklemore moves down. Hudson, nowhere to go.
It's a couple of technical difficulties too. Pictures just coming back to
I gave you the
now.
radio call. It's all good.
Yeah.
But we've got it for you now, though. We've got that replay re-racked here. And again, it's Lamp gets turned around, goes into the backstretch, tries to get the car righted, and he spins it coming back onto the track, as you're going to see here in just a moment. Everybody avoids him. No harm, no foul here at this point until too much throttle right there at the line. And here come the cars as he backs up in the middle of the track. And the lamp is off.
That looks, it's, I don't know. I think Scott Lamp has been found guilty there, because it turns out there's an admin in the session, and Scott Lamp has been removed from it for an intentional caution.
Interesting development.
I mean,
I'm not going to make. Listen,
You know,
I'm not going to make a call on it either way, okay?
No.
Because you never know what's going on the other end, right? And so, so they removed him. It's over. Luckily, none of the leaders were involved in it, but that is definitely going to mix things up here with what 50. Well, we'll get started with how many left to go? What 49 to go now? So, yeah, we'll probably restart this race. The lights are going to stay on, I think, one more time. So we know this. They're still going to need another pit stop, Jonesy. They can't finish the race on this tank of fuel.
Yep, so they'll be able to get home from around lap 165, I think. That's about 35 laps, isn't it? Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how the drivers play this, whether people come down once it opens, or whether they go as long as they can and then short fuel the car in their pit stop while they pit on up, say, lap 185 or something.
All right, so that's caution number 2. That's still way shy of probably what most people expected here. You know, hey, I'd like to give a shout out to NASCAR. Let's see them pull this off on Sunday. I think every fan in America, in the countries throughout the world, would love to see the type of green flag racing we're seeing. Unfortunately, guys at the track down there in Daytona right now haven't been able to prove here over the course of speed weeks that they've been able to keep all the fenders on the car. So hats off to all the iRacing drivers all over the service. I've said it a few times now. We've seen some great races over the past week. This is shaping up to be one of them. I'm really, really excited about what these next 47 laps will have in store with us. Store for us. I again expect the lights to go off here, the pace cars across, and they're off.
Get a few lapped cars back on the lead lap then. Quite a few, actually. Boyd Hogan, how did he end up a lap down? 5 laps down. Oh, yes, no, of course. That's why he got disconnected. Yeah, my brain's faded. My brain's faded, Sean.
That's okay. It's all right, Jonesy. I figured food would help, but apparently you had too much, and now you're slipping into a food coma.
Yes.
So it's not good. Jonesy, were nuggets at the center of this? I'm curious. Were they on the menu this evening?
They weren't on the menu this evening.
Okay.
Well,
All
this
right.
afternoon, even.
Okay. Yes, this afternoon. That's right, folks. It's Saturday in Australia. Friday night here in America.
Alrighty, so lights out on the pace car. Still to be in the hands of Jesse Atchison. Steve Shaheen will line up to his outside. David Brown there on the inside. Justin Prince up and 4th. Seth Knoll. Dallas Pataska 5th and 6th. They are lined up, interestingly, for 5th and 6th. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but Pataska scored 5th at the line, is on the outside. Oh well. Garrett Maines is still back there in 7th. Joshua Campbell 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Ryan Hartz. And Devon Hall as we get back underway here. Green flag flies once more. Good start for Jesse Atchison out front. Followed superbly by David Brown and Knoll. And Shaheen going backwards here at a rate of knots as Prince, Pataskas, and the 31 get right up on each other's bumper.
And that line got a really, really slow start, and you're seeing it here as they get wound up down the back stretch. They are dropping quickly, now starting to gain a little bit of steam. There they go, evening it up there with the 4 with Jarrett Liebert.
But at the moment, it's 5 cars, single file out front.
Oh, Seth, no! Loose. Woohoo! That was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and then the one of Garrett Maines drops right down in front of Seth. A little bit of excitement there for Seth in the seat there.
So Garrett Maines has done a great job to get back up here because he brought out that first caution. When you got loose off of turn 2.
Yeah. And remember earlier we saw Seth, and we got a car loose. There was a bad push there. Was that I think that was Ryan Hart's that maybe got a bad push from the 4. Jarrett Liebert almost lost the car.
Steve Shaheen tucks down below in the top 7 single file, but Shaheen wants to make something work on the outside. But he's got no one helping him at the moment. And not going to work for him as the number 5 of Esteban Rodriguez, not number 5. Devin Hall, the number 5, will try to fill the gap with help from Rodriguez, but he won't quite be able to get there. And with 14 odd laps to go, once we get that final pit stop, and these drivers know there's no more pit stops to make, I think that's now how, I think that's when we're going to start to see this race really explode. I should also apologise. I think I've been calling Steve Shaheen for most of the race. I got his name mixed up and all backwards and stuff. But positive. What's the screen time for him? I mean, there's that.
That's how you treat a pro driver. Just butcher his name all night. I started the Shaheen one. I misidentified him with noted American broadcaster Ralph Shaheen. Who's been in and out of NASCAR broadcasting for well over 30 years now.
So. Noel almost getting there into the left rear. Garrett Maines to just shift up the track a little bit. The margins are getting smaller and smaller now for mistakes in this pack as drivers are really starting to ramp it up a notch, and you'd be surprised how quickly these last 40 laps will go here.
Yeah, I think that has a little bit to do with what you just said. Last 40 or so laps here, so it's crunch time. Not really crunch time, but it's time to maybe amp things up a bit. We're all still setting up for one more pit stop, so maybe not too desperate right now. Let's get to the pit stop. Let's prove we can do that without tearing up some race cars. They did it for most of this race. I think they can do it to the end.
Well, now you just got and cursed it, Sean.
I guess I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Top 2. Break away from the outside, but Tasca's giving a good push in the back of Sheehan.
No. Yes, I actually got that right. It's
Is it
okay.
Sheehan?
We need a phonetic spelling. It's
Sheehan?
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Sheehan.
Yeah, we're being corrected in the chat, but I'm still not sure if we're right. So don't worry about it. Oh, and look at that. The leaders just got by. Who was that that got out of the way? But it was a Cooley. Yeah, almost made contact with Cooley as they came through. Steve, jeez, I don't see any damage to the car, but it almost looked like he clipped him.
It was very close indeed. A lot of cloud cover over the track as well.
They're back. The clouds are back, and so are the meteorologists. Yeah.
So
we're gonna finish this without rain, though. I'm confident of that. I really am. I think that's. Yeah, I think it's a certainty that we will take the checkered flag with no rain, and then immediately after the checkered flag's been thrown, and it'll just start pouring all over the place. And we have people tuning in for the first time thinking, wow, they have rain. We don't, folks. I'm sorry. I'm just reaching here. You know. No, I'll tell you who's not reaching, and that's Atchison right now. 22 spots up front of this field. He's yo-yoed through the field a couple of times, and there he is back up front with his pink rims, showing everybody how to get it done here at Daytona. His pink rims and his platypus.
Can't miss him out on that racetrack. Still a laps car involved in this lead group. It is Rodriguez, who's been hanging around for so long, but he's still 2 laps down. Good news for him is there's no one lap down now, so he is in position for a lucky dog. He'll get 1 lap back. It's 2 cautions then to get back on the lead lap. Who knows? He can still potentially make it happen. There's 26 guys still on the lead lap and in the lead pack as well, I should say. 3.2 seconds from first to 26, which is Team Toyota.
Still don't know who's going to win this race. Not a clue. Not a clue. Anybody's race here. The top 28 right now covered about a second and a half.
Yep, it's pretty close. This is the point where if a crash happens at the front, we pray for the guys in the back. Especially if it's through the corner. Most of the incidents, or all the incidents, have been on the backstretch, actually, haven't they, so far today?
They've been coming out of 2. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Turn 2 has been problematic, and both cautions were a result of something that happened coming off 2.
Just about 10 laps until the pit window will open up, and drivers will be able to make it home to 200 laps. 2 laps, I should say. I keep thinking 175 for some reason. I feel the longer this race goes on, the less my brain works, Sean.
Well, it's worked fine for most of this race. You're good.
I don't know whether we're going to see people win as soon as it opens or not. I mean, you do have to consider the green, white checker attempts. They are going to use up fuel, and you use all 3 of them even. So, I mean, you can't come in right when it opens because you'll be in a bit of strife. And if you're leading the pack as well, you're going to need a bit of extra fuel to use up.
Yeah. I want that cushion. If I'm on the box, I'm telling my driver to stay out, and let's take more than we need just in case. Because I really am. I'm going for position if you get that late caution. If there's any way I can stay out, I will. Short of the tires just being torched or just not having any fuel, I'm going to stay out and keep position. And if I've got a couple laps to go, I'll just hold them off. I'll hold that yellow line on the bottom. And if they beat me up top, then damn it, they beat me up top. I'll try and get it back the next lap if I can, but position is everything here at Daytona in those closing laps.
And there's still over half the field that aren't really playing ball at the front yet. They're just hanging back a little bit. We haven't seen much 3-wide racing since, weirdly, the start of the race. We saw most of it happen. But I do think once this pit stop happens, we're going to see the field close up massively. We're going to see people start to take it 3-wide. That's when it's going to start getting hectic. And not long now till that starts to happen, but there's so many people that haven't been in the front that we could still see that at the end of this race, because, I mean, you look back, there's guys all the way down to the 20s, you know, Devin Morgan, Justin Masolo, Marcus Ruckman's gone back there, in fact, back in 22nd. Donovan Strauss is back there as well. Dylan Old, Nickamore, Tim Tweaker. You know, all those guys can still get to the front. A bit of 3-wide action. How good does that shot look as the sun shines? How many cautions we get? I think we should just about escape any lighting effects here.
you keep thinking we're going to get all these cautions. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, prove me wrong. It's, I mean, you look, I think you got to look at the history of the Daytona 500. So often it's stacked with cautions late because that's when all the energy goes into the pack and no one wants to lift late on in the race, and that's when things happen. But they've been running pretty well so far. I mean, this is the sort of race where you could expect them to go green to the end.
The balance of these cars up front so close right now that most of what we've seen has happened on the last lap. So as far as the big ones go in these Daytona races here over the past week, we'll see if that stays, that script runs itself out tonight. Based on everything they've done to this point, I expect that to happen now. But again, it's Daytona. I won't be surprised if it doesn't. But Atchison doing a good job of continuing to hold the field off. They can't get the top line to move right now, Ryan.
And sorry, just looking at just looking at the YouTube stream there, just having a little bit of issues. Should hopefully have it sorted out. Roundabout now, maybe.
Well, you can find SimSpeed on their Twitch channel. That's still up and running as far as I know. But Ryan, again, it's still nothing happening up top. Pataska not being, honestly, I don't think he's being the best dance partner right now, but not holding the line well at the moment. And I wonder if it's tires. Maybe the car's hot. Maybe he has to keep peeking it out there for a little bit of air. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he just got to make sure he's got the car ready at the end, and then he can do what he needs to do, make some moves, and it'll work out nice.
Jonesy, 28 laps to go at the line. You know they got to stop. They don't have to do it now. They'll probably run to the length of their window here. Going to set up for a really, really exciting finish. This, of course, is going to be the most critical pit stop of the race if we do it green.
You
who's
can't
going to duck in first?
You can't afford to make a mistake at this stage of the race because you can't rely on the field being condensed again. If we go green, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Okay, now look who's got to the front of that outside line now. Seth Knowles moved up there, gotten in front of Pataska. Now let's see what Knoll can do, because he spent a lot of laps leading this race, and maybe it's time for him to get back up front. Do you remember way back when Seth Knoll got off cycle with the pit stops there, and he went in by himself and dropped all the way back? Do you remember that, Jonesy? Well, he's back to the front of the field, and Atchison going to do everything he can to continue to hold him off like he has everybody else that's trying to get something done up top. Atchison right now being the benefactor of some good work from David Brown there behind him.
Yeah, they're working pretty well there. Still side by side. No one really looking to get down to the pit lane just yet. But thinking about 10 or so laps, we're going to start to see people start to make moves, trying to get to the inside.
you don't want to be. Go ahead.
YouTube has allegedly come back to life. Currently, it went down, or live broadcast for YouTube went down for everyone, but should be back now. So get the word out. Let's get our viewer numbers back up because this is going to be a pretty good finish, grandstand finish, I reckon.
Well, the race isn't broken. We got a bunch of clean, well, somewhat clean race cars at the front. They got a lot of dirt, a lot of grime on them. All these laps takes its toll, but these cars are racing. And Jonesy, again, we're all waiting for this big one. Right now, the big one is this pit stop coming up, and we can't again stress the importance of this. You may have gotten away with a bad pit stop earlier in this race, but you're not going to get away with it here. You will be exposed and you'll lose as a result of it.
You will. I mean, if you slide through your pit stall, you're going to miss out on exiting with the guys you pitted with. If you lock up and speed into the pit lane, you're going to have a 15-second stop and hold, which is going to absolutely ruin you. If you spin getting into pit lane, I mean, that's going to kill you as well. There's no guarantees. You're going to find a way to get back up to the lead pack. This is crucial. This is the money stop for these drivers. There's just 23 laps to go when we come across the line now. This is the point in the race where you need to leave everything out on the table, put everything out there on the racetrack and make it work.
Well, I have enjoyed making this work for 177 laps, Joe. This has been a blast, man. I made the comment about NASCAR earlier because in a perfect world, I mean, this is really what I would like to see on Sunday. I'd love to see these guys battle it out. Now, the NASCAR drivers are going to tell you, no, we don't like that pack racing. We don't like running so close. What do you race for then? I mean, come on. You don't race to wreck. You race to compete. You race side by side and close like this. This is the fun of the sport. And we're seeing it here on iRacing tonight. Again, just tremendous job by the field of drivers here in NIS tonight.
Indeed. Lap 179 then of 200. Lead goes to the way of the 18. Who just about had enough room, David Brown, to get down in front of Jesse Atchison with a big push from Noel on the top side. He's got Pataskas lined up to his rear bumper now. And now Atchison goes to the outside, trying to take the lead back away. And they all make their way via the laps car down to the apron. Atchison takes it back on the engine of turn 3. The lead swapping back and forth now, as everyone wants to lead this league. And what about Daniel Brown? What's he do? He goes back to the outside. And Noel is just going to keep pushing people to lead the race. So eventually he can get there.
You know, if it seems like I've run out of words to say, it's not really that so much as it is, it's intense right now, and I'm just like, I'm in awe, like everybody else, and look at that move down to the bottom of the track.
No.
Wow!
That was, you don't want to get closer than that. That's the limit. I think Brown just found the limit of how close you cut him. And now Noel finally is going to get himself clear, courtesy of Pataskas, and again wipes across the front bumper. These guys playing for keeps out there now. They were caught 3 wide about a moment ago. And suddenly, there's a lot more people up in this lead group of cars. A lot of guys now, side by side, deep in this field. When are we going to see some more 3 wide action? That's top 3 single file. Atchison doesn't want it. He goes to the outside.
And I was just about to say, I think the 2 best leaders we've seen this evening are probably Atchison and Noel. And what they've done up front all night, I think they've been my 2 best leaders of the night. And now one's got one line, the other has the the other line with 19 laps to go here at the line, and a pit stop still looming in the distance. We had a couple peel off. I think a couple drivers a little bit further back in the field, but 2 off nonetheless. Who was that came off there? You got Toyota, you got Fat Timu's off, and Josh Micklemore.
See if that works for them then, as Sheehan looked to the outside, couldn't find a way through. He's got the 22 pushing him behind, and now the 12 goes up there as well, so the outside starting to form again as the 18 just about finds the through up front to lead the outside line. Daniel Brown once again going to go and try and get himself back into the lead of this one, as everyone starts to close up now, and we get closer and closer to pit stop days. Eventually they've got to get single file so they can all come down to pit, because no one is going to make it home. There's absolutely no way.
No, really, depending on that push right now from Garrett Maines, and they've got a car up top. They're fast. A couple of them just in front of them. That's who we got there. It's actually Toyota just up in front of them, but immediately in front of them there, it's who is that?
Micklemore.
That's Micklemore, yeah, who had just come in for that stop. Him and Toyota both now having the field come by. And this will actually put them a lap down.
So that hasn't really worked out for them. They'll get their lap back when everyone else pits, but going to be a long way behind the field.
Are the two faster? Are the two faster than the pack to where they can make a little time up here and maybe still be as fast as the rest of the group coming in? It's going to be tough.
Well, they'll stay with the pack because their cars are fine, so they'll stay with the pack here. The pack will peel off and pit, and they'll drive around them and get some of their lap back, because they're not pitting. They've already pitted.
Right, no, I get that, but the delta is really, really close. So will they, again, if the front of the field is faster than them getting caught in the middle of all this right now, they stand to lose out here and get passed up by the rest of the field as they cycle out. But the 31 back there, all the way below the line, I was trying to see what was going on with Campbell. Was following him for a minute, and looked like that word squirrely when you use it. It looked like the car got a bit squirrely, went all the way down below the line coming off the turn.
Now Brown just going backwards here. 15 to go here at Daytona.
Woohoo!
Still a pit stop to come. Gonna happen in the next 5 or so laps, you would think. Atchison trying to find his way to the top, but can't do it. Pataska's give it a big push. Pataska give it a big push to the back of David Brown, and pushing him too far out. In fact, he's dropped off him, and Brown's going to fall backwards here into the clutches of Pataska and Sheehan. And Ryan Hart's down on the inside. There's a small, about a car long gap between him and Atchison. And Brown's not going to be able to slot down into it, nor does think he wants to.
Well, let's see. We're a little less than 2 hours and 45 minutes into this race, and the lack of cautions have made this a really, really fast event tonight. It may not be over. We'll see in the coming laps here. But I'm just nervous with anticipation.
Oh, here we go.
About this pit stop.
And
they're all coming in.
Up and down.
Yeah, that was Noel, Atchison, Hart, Sheehan, Pataska, Matthew Bell, and Josh Campbell apparently had some kind of problem that I didn't catch. And apparently he was having trouble with the apron again, and now he's having trouble getting in and out of his box. He slid it a little too far forward, and all those drivers just came in. They're out, and Campbell going to be the last of that group.
Expect to see the rest of them dive down on this lap here. Garrett Maines dives below the apron. The field comes with a few stay out, led by the 22. And now probably just one more cycle of pits to come. Or one more group of cars to come down to the pits.
That group that stayed out is pretty much the same group that stayed out earlier. Led by Solus, Washington. Ruckman is in that. Donovan Strauss, Milbacher. Devin Morgan at the very back of that.
Let's see then. So come through 3 and 4. They're all single file. They're all perfectly lined up to come into pit lane. Well, they were. The 29 looks up. He doesn't want to pit. Direct do. And that's
Remember,
why. Yeah. That's
they
Toyka,
were just in. Yeah.
Toyka, Nickelmore. So they'll go around. And let's see if they can gain anything then with this. I mean, they're 23rd, 24, so they're so far off the back now.
Maines on the back stretch. Got Jarrett Liebert right under him as they go through 3 and 4. Can this group get out and be able to merge back into the draft like they did earlier? Solus is out. Ruckman right behind him.
The guys that have pitted already haven't formed up particularly well.
They haven't, no.
They're very messy, not many strong lines going, so this group coming out of pit lane might be in a good spot here, but I think, no, they're not. Yeah. They're still going to get run down pretty quickly.
They've been officially buried, yeah.
They might be able to claw their way back up there with a bit of slipstream, but now I'm just working out the lead is with Solus Jr., who quickly loses it. Here we go then. 10 laps to go when we come across the line as David Brown gets a bit loose.
He didn't like that push. He got sandwiched there, was feeling the heat, and said, you know what, I better get out of this here real quick. And Garrett Maines a little slow to decide. I don't think he knew whether or not he wanted to go up top. He thought about that. It was a very, very slow transition to the top line.
No one will lift now. It's that point in the race where no margins are left as Noel tries to take it away from Liebert. Up on the high side with help from Hartz. Not going to be able to do it into turn 3 and 4 this time by as Garrett Maines gets real close to the back of Hartz up there as well. You've got the 12 pushing up there at 2. That is right into set. And Atchison's found his way back to the inside. The 6, Dylan Jones, haven't seen him up here all race long. Suddenly, he's the 3rd car on the inside.
Now, we got to keep an eye on something, okay? And that's the next group. Sean Timmerman is only about 0.8 of a second behind Justin Prince right now. Here comes this second pack. Timmerman, Ruckman, Devin Hall, Milbacher, Matthew Bell, David Washington, Strauss is in that group, Devin Morgan, Justin Botello. Botello. Any one of these guys can win this race.
Yeah, if they get a good run, which they will do and get within the range, they could fire 3 wide right around the outside of this leading pack of cars, which is...
It's going to get nuts.
Which is 10 strong. And the rest chasing them down. Yeah. They're going to get there.
They are definitely going to get there.
To shake up this lead pack big time here. We're going to see 3 wide. There's no way that Marcus Ruckman lifts off and doesn't take the run that he's got. He's got Milbacher pushing him. Surely they go to the outside here with Donovan Strauss to help as well. There they go. They look high. He moves to the second line. That's the middle lane of the racetrack. He gets the run out of turn number 4. He goes to the outside and catches the fence and loses it, but holds on to it.
Oh my, look at the save. Are you kidding me?
What a save from Marcus Ruckman. And now Donovan Strauss doing everything he can to get him back up to pace. What damage has that done to the side of Ruckman's machine? That car just drifted up into the fence. He tried to get to that third line, got a bit higher than that. And that peters out that run that they had going.
And Strauss is laying on him, baby. I mean, he is just laying on him. He's got to. He's got no choice. He's just like, hey, we got to go. We got to go. There's 6 laps at the line to go. And the rest of the pack is finally starting to catch up. Oh, and boy, that was Timmerman almost into the back of the 2 there, Milbacher.
Now about 19 cars in this lead pack fighting for the win. And it's still Jarrett Liebert that leads them at the line. Down on the inside, 6 laps to go. As they make their way through 1 and 2, the outside cannot get any momentum right now. And Noel's going nowhere. He's just stuck side by side with Brown on the inside of him. Here we go. Here's the push from Reinhardt. Down the back straight they go. Can he clear him into turn number 3? He's going to be super close to doing it. He will do it. Tucks down in front. That's as close as it gets. I keep saying it because I keep getting shocked by how they're not crashing doing it. Fantastic judgment. And immediately Liebert goes back to the outside.
And he's going to get a big push here from Ryan Hartz. And he does lead across the line. Liebert leads across the line with 5 laps to go here at the Daytona 500.
Starting third with the 1 and 2, but look for the big run down the back straightaway. That's where the run's been coming for the back straight so far in this race. What about Garrett Maines giving a big push to Hartz? What can Maines do? Third on the outside. He's someone who's been there all race long. He's fought his way back up there after an incident earlier on. Can he have the comeback story for this one? The 6 of Dylan Jones has come from nowhere to be up in the leading group. Atchison's been there all race. Doucette's come from the back as well. So many stories in this leading pack. Who's going to do it? Is out in the background. Donovan Strauss going to take them 3 wide. And the 17's going to go with him. That's David Washington giving a push up on that third lane. Can they get something going up there? And will anyone else join them?
They're sure going to try. They're giving it hell. And looks like they're going to get a third car. What is that? Matthew Bell running up here. Remember that number I talked about earlier? 5.
There goes Banks.
Okay, here we go. Oh,
big
push,
push,
he makes it.
12, around
That's
they
it.
go. That's the big one at Daytona. Although, quite a few drivers have escaped it. That's going to take us to a green-white checkered here for the Daytona 500. And we got to stack them up and try it all again. That takes out a lot of competitive cars. That one, Garrett Maines stranded on the apron.
And, you know, what are you going to do, right? I mean, it's Garrett just a victim of what I thought maybe was just not a good push. I know I've said that a couple times tonight, but that's exactly what it was. And that's a shame. It really is. They were doing so well. There was so much hope. Got the replay coming up here in just a moment. Rolling to you now.
And so Maines, you saw that run coming for the third lane. And as you would expect, he dived for the outside, but in doing so, I mean, didn't give much time for the push to be lined up. He can't blame anyone there. That's just the racing at Daytona. It was actually a pretty good push, but it was a very strong push.
Yeah.
And that's what offloaded him.
Maines, you know, Jonesy, when you make that move to the top side, you do lose a little momentum when you step out there, and he did, and it was just a little bit too much, and he got kind of run over as a result of it. Like you said, that hard push, just too hard.
Well, that's what we get at Daytona International Speedway. And we're going to get attempt number 1 of 3 here to end this race under green. Seth Knoll will lead them to that green. Liebert will be to his outside. Don't think any of the front runners decided to pit. What this does mean, though, is there's now 23 guys on the lead lap. 23 strong lead pack. We'll have.
Well, that was fun. It was highly predictable, but the chance was there that we'd finish this one under green flag. We're still going to finish it under a green flag here, hopefully, as we do have those 3 green-white checkers to sort out. The 3 attempts, anyway. Once that white flag is unfurled, though, that race is over, no matter what's going on behind them.
Yep. If you get back to the white flag, you're going to be coming back to the checkered, and that can produce some crazy finishes, like we saw on the clash of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series when Gorlinski came through. The huge one on the final lap to win that one, despite
Yeah, it really was.
creating the wall twice.
We've also seen drivers who make some miraculous saves amid all the chaos and get a great finish out of it. I know Christian Challoner didn't get saved in the big race on Tuesday night, but he still threw in all that carnage. His car just happened to be in the right place that he finishes 5th. Sliding across the line, got hit in just the right spot that he had enough momentum to get right there across the line and take a top 5 out of it, which is a great start to the season, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we should get lights out in the pace car this time by, and then come across that start-finish stripe, and they'll go side by side for the restart. It's hard to predict who's in the best spot here. I mean, we've seen the inside manage to hold on for a few laps off restarts. So if that's the case, you'd have to go with Noel, but the outside gets momentum, and if they go 3 wide, surely more people are going to try to take it 3 wide here off this restart. 2 laps to go, you've got to go for it.
Well, you got to go for it, but man, you don't have to be stupid, and don't do that. Don't ruin everybody's race by doing something that's just too bold. And easy for me to say here. I'm sitting on the other side of this event, commentating it, but let's get a great finish here. Seth Knoll, really been up here most of the night. He gets a good jump on this field. I'm going to be honest, that last restart we had, you remember what happened to the top line, Jonesy. It dropped off miserably. It took them 3 or 4 laps to just be relevant again, and they don't have that here now with the green-white checker coming up.
No, they don't. See, lights out on the pace car. Lights out on the pace car. We're going to get a restart next time by. That outside needs to hook up well. Who's pushing Liebert? It'll be Ryan Hart. He's done a great job pushing people in this one so far. Ryan Doucette's up there. He hasn't been up there too much. Justin Prince is down on the inside with Atchison in front of him. David Brown. The inside is lined up with very, very strong drivers that we've seen at the front all race long.
I think they're happy about that, honestly. I think that's where they'd rather restart this race. The guys on the inside for this restart are a stout group led by Noel, and you got David Brown, and you mentioned who was there, Atchison, and then Prince behind him. All 4 of those cars have been working very, very well this evening. So expect the line on the bottom to move. It's going to be up to the guys up top. They're really, really going to have to get this right on the restart.
Easier said than done, though. You've got to predict when that inside guy is going to go. You can't go before him. You can't cross the line before him. But if you lay off too much, it's a tough art. Restarting second is, in my opinion, harder than restarting third, because you've got to look down to your left-hand side to see that lap, to see them go. Got to make sure you keep your car nice and straight and you do it. But this is it then. This could be the final restart. Our first attempt to finish this one under green. Green-white checkered attempt number 1 in the hands of Seth Knoll down on the inside. Pace car gets out of the way. The Daytona 500 is green once more. Big push from David Brown and a good restart from the outside as well. They'll be side by side on the approach to turn 1. Ryan Hart giving a strong push to Jared Liebert up there. And Noel not able to clear him as they make their way through. 3 cars down on the inside, and Doucette dives down there too. That's going to hurt the outside because Liebert and Hartz have got no one pushing him. David Brown is caught in an awkward spot. Down the apron goes.
He's got nowhere to go.
Breaks the inside up.
That's it.
They go. Can they keep it on the apron? Are we going to get a caution?
Not yet.
Green for now, and it's in the hands of Liebert, who's still leading. Caution comes out. We're going to try again.
Brown really had nowhere to go to get that car back up on track. He was in a really, really bad spot there. You got it on the replay here, Jonesy.
It all started, didn't it, with David Brown in the middle, getting caught between the left rear car in front and the right front of the car behind. And he's ended up down in the apron. As he rejoined, he just drifted up into Atchison.
A little too far. Atchison gave him room to come back up, and it's just a little far to the right there for David.
Yeah, and again for Patello.
Yeah, Patello, huge contact for him. And then he's going to get it, I think. Yep. He's going to straddle.
Yeah.
We've got a straddler.
Incredibly easy to do with the banking on this track. It's so steep and so sudden from the apron down onto the start of the banking that if you catch it at the wrong angle, your car will get stuck there.
I'll tell you what, as someone who hikes pretty avidly, I will tell you from experience that that 31 degrees of banking is no joke. I would not, let's just say, I would not want to do a day-long hike of 31 degrees of banking. That would be absolutely killer. It would wear you out, and probably most humans would wear out in about 45 minutes, I think. And it is, we talked about the transition, the track transition earlier with the 31 degree banking. Again, that first line, that first yellow line, not so bad. The second line, the one closer to the very, very inside of the track, that's the transition. You get anywhere to the left of that, and it's just, it's chaos. It really is. And we've seen it several times tonight. We've seen some amazing saves as a result of that. So, but it just doesn't always work. Now, we'll get
Garrett
another.
Main.
Go ahead, Mains.
He just will not die. He's got back onto the lead lap. He's been in. Well, he's still 1 lap down now, I think. But he's still running around in 23rd out of 36 that started this on. He's been involved in like 2 big crashes, and somehow that car's still clean. Hey, he's not a lap down. I'm going to fully oust Jay, feed him in the wrong end for there. I was right, Jay.
Yeah, he is still on the lead lap, and in fact, he's getting that wave around now. He'll come around and get to the back of the field, so the one car is still very much in this as much as anybody else.
I'm amazed how little damage there is on that machine, too, despite all the contact he's had.
The hood's buckled just a little bit, and the left side got a little bit of damage, but aside from that, the car looks pretty good.
Don't think he's quite going to have a chance to get back up to the lead. We've still got another lap at least under the pace car. Lights are still on. The one thing, if we could change anything about Daytona International Speedway, I would change the length of the caution laps somehow. Make them faster or something. Because the lights are... Oh, there we go. Lights on here.
Yeah.
The virtual racetrack. We wondered whether we'd get there. We got there.
Yeah, actually, okay. They came on a few laps ago, but that's okay. It's all right. They are now fully charged. You see, those types of stadium lights take just a few minutes to power up. Kind of like it takes to get up to full speed on a lap here at Daytona for one of these cars. takes a little time for the lights to warm up, and they are at full strength now. We're seeing that effect on track. How's it affected the weather? Well, folks, not much. It's still it's actually gotten a little bit cooler now with the lights on and night starting to fall upon the speedway. It is 6:12 p.m. virtual standard time here at the track.
We've seen a number of cautions, a number of crashes. We haven't really seen the big one, though, have we? We've seen probably four or five cars in most crashes, and everyone's done a pretty good job of avoiding everything today. We still got 23 cars in the lead lap. We still got 4 or 5 more running around on the track a few laps down. So, been pretty impressive so far with the wreck avoidance of these drivers. Hopefully, they don't need to get it out anymore. Hopefully, this one goes right through to the white flag and then through the checkered.
Well, both lines got a great restart on the first green-white checker attempt. And again, what we talked about in the last caution period was really going to be up to that top line to do the same thing again. If they've got any chance here of competing in this green-white checker, maybe the guys will do a little bit better job of keeping it in order this time. I feel bad, though, honestly, for that last one, because again, the room was given. He just drifted back up the track a little bit too much that caused the contact. And unless you're really looking, you don't know that guy's there, or you know they're there, but you may not know exactly how close they are. And again, like I said, the room was given. It's just the transition back to the track got a little wild there. But we'll get it here. The lights are out. We're ready to get back to getting mean green and underway here at Daytona International Speedway. A beautiful evening here in Florida.
2 very good pushes starting off the second row, Noel and Atchison. Who's going to help the front row sitter the best? Hearts on the outside of Liebert, down on the inside. Pace car dives down once more onto pit road. What can Liebert do? Can he get a good jump along with Nolan behind him? As the green flag flies, we're racing once more. Fantastic start from the outside this time. And it's dead even across the line. Liebert by just a little bit as Atchison gets right up onto the bumper of Hearts before Noel gets to Liebert. And through 1 and 2 they go. 3 wide, a few cars back. That's Sheehan trying to make something work with Garrett Maines pushing him of all people. Out onto the back straight. It looks a lot cleaner than it did last time by. As Hearts still not able to get clear of Liebert down on the inside. Atchison doing a fantastic job of pushing him out there though. If they can get someone, the 22's pretty close to the rear bumper too. Coming out of turn number 4, we're going to get the white flag this time. It looks like we will. As we come to the start-finish stripe one more time around here at Daytona. White flag in the air for the Daytona 500. And it's Liebert at the line. Can Hearts or Atchison or Noel or Prince get there? The 22 of Solis Jr. just too far back off Atchison to give him the push he needs. They're so tightly packed here. No one is lifting the slightest amount as they all condense and a block being thrown down the back straight, and he can't clear the inside. He gets back there somehow. There's Liebert and cut a bit of slack there, I think, by the 24, and they're gonna clear the outside by a margin. And he tries to go to the outside to Snow, goes back to the inside. They wreck in the background, but coming to the checkered flag, it's going to be Jared Liebert that wins the NIS Daytona 500 by 6 100ths of a second.
And do you want to tell me how Sean Timmerman just managed to finish 3rd in this race? Timmerman takes P3. Timmerman somehow managed to get through all that, get to the inside, and he finishes P3. He noses it right in front of Prince. Prince had 3rd place locked up, and Timmerman noses him at the line. Well, good on our winner. I'll tell you what, Liebert. Well, that was a hell of a race. It really was. That was a lot of fun.
And a typical massive crash. The big one happened coming out of turn number 4 from everyone for about 4th on back. Heading to that checkered flag. We'll get a replay up on screen of it shortly. And that all started from Noel trying to find his way to the outside to make a move on Leave It. Here's the motor simulation replay. This is the final lap. You see there, Leave It now sees the run for the outside, goes to the outside, throws the block on Hartz. And then right as he comes back down, Noel, I think, cut him some slack there. He wasn't quite clear. Messy in the background too, 3 wide, 2 or so cars deep. Right here, Noel tries to squeeze in front of Hartz, just about does it. Hartz gets a bit of contact into the wall, back into the field. Chaos.
And we got that massive moment that we'd all been looking for. And I'm satisfied as Jarrett Liebert out there just burning him down. Just toasting the good years off of that car.
Well, what we'll do is we'll get a replay up here of...
On Ruckman?
Yeah, Ruckman, who came across in 30th place in the end. You see the car on the fence, he keeps the throttle in it, almost made it through, up and over he goes, somehow stays on his 4 tyres.
He stuck the landing. I'm sorry. That
across the line.
I'm giving that an 8.3. 8.3. Darn it. I've heard, though, the Czechoslovakian judges have scored that at 4.7. I ain't got to say, I'm pretty disappointed with that, guys.
All right, let's go to a break. When we come back, we'll have the results, final results here from Daytona. Hopefully, someone will jump in and give us an interview as well.
And he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
He's going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing!
Racely to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
I'm going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
He's trying this contact though.
Wide left of the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact. He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schumacher, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Welcome back to the NASCAR iRacing Series Daytona 500, week 1 of the season, finishing in smashing style. Jarrett Liebert coming home the victor by 600ths from Seth Noel in second, Sean Timmerman home in third, Justin Prince fourth, Jose Solis Jr. running out the top 5. Devin Hall home in 6th, Garrett Main 7th, top 10 rounded out by Timu Toika. He came home strong late. Steve Sheehan in 9th and Dylan Jones in 10th.
And Jonesy, it's going to be Dallas Pataska. Going to finish 11th tonight. Behind him, Matthew Bell. Marcus Ruckman with the spectacular crash there at the end. Joshua Campbell, P14. 15th, going to go to James Millbachler. And then we got Donovan Strauss there in 16th. Jesse Atchison, P17. Josh Micklemore, 18th place for him. Devin Morgan, 19th. And Ryan Hartz will finish 20th.
Rest of the results will cycle through on your screen, getting into the guys that run into plenty of issues and finished a lap down. We've got some people down in the interview channel. Let's drag Jarrett Liebert up into the comms box. Congratulations. You fought hard, you fought well, you took home the win.
Thank you. It was really hard fought. Up at the front, I had a lot of teammates, Ryan Hart, Seth Knoll. A lot of them really made this race become what it was in the end of the race. Like, I don't think I could have won that without them, and the amazing setup that Jesse Atchison made. It was honestly dream come true for iRacing, winning an IS here. Big win.
Yeah, certainly one of the crown jewel events on the iRacing calendar. And talk us through how that race went. Started off with a massive green flag run. Did you think that one was ever going to end?
It's always Daytona. You know it's going to happen at some point. It's just when. And on the backstretch, when that green flag run ended, I was actually right behind when the wreck happened and just had to swerve dead right to miss Garrett spinning across the track. It was a long green flag run. I was pretty impressed with how the field was able to go through most of the race with long green flag runs. In the end, you'll usually have a few green-white checkers, but it was honestly one of the best races I've ever had on the sim for green flag runs and just the competition level. It's really fun.
Yeah, it was impressive how good the racing was out there. Inch perfect moves happening all race long. In terms of strategy, did that play out pretty much how you wanted it to? I mean, you had a caution at a pretty inopportune time, meaning you had to pit with 10 laps to go. But I think it worked pretty well for you in the end.
Yeah, I actually had, for our team, we had like 7 or 8 cars up front at that point, and we were able to pit in like a nice group of cars, and we all had, I would say, one of the best cars on the field, not like the best, but it was pretty strong. And being able to line up with all of them coming out of those, every green flag pit stop, it was honestly in our set was able to say feel pretty dang well. So honestly, we could stretch out our runs 3 to 4 laps longer and really be able to push each other off every single green flag pit exit. So it really worked perfect.
Looking forward to the rest of the season, of course, you've got the 4th highest I rating in the room, so I say you're going to be top split every single time. Are we going to see you back in this time slot every week?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll probably be running with Nexus Esports the majority, if not the entire year, and going to show up at the races that I feel like we will have a good piece and hopefully battle for wins every single week.
All right, well, look forward to hopefully talking to you over the next few weeks with some more strong results for you. Before we let you go, who are the sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to thank Cosmin for spotting and Splash and Go graphics. If you ever need any paint schemes, go to Cosmin. Nexus Esports, some of the Dead Zone Racing guys for watching, and the entire field, and you guys for doing the broadcast. It was a great race.
Thank you very much. Go and celebrate with your teammates. And next up, Sean Ambrose has caught up with Justin Prince.
Yeah, I don't know this guy at all. First time I've ever actually talked with him. Justin, what a tremendous run, man. You get one of those underground racing cars in the top 5 with that 4th place finish. Buddy, you were rock solid all night. You sat up there with the leaders all night. You were a good partner to have. And in the end, you were rewarded with a P4. How do you feel right now about that?
I'm absolutely surprised with the P4, to be honest, with the way that was going. I know there was a lot of different teammates amongst that top 10. And honestly, when I entered the night, I was just hoping I would be in this top split for tonight. And when I seen I was car 36, I think I jumped for joy. When this race got underway as well, I went with a different philosophy from what I did, because I've done, to be honest, 3 Daytona 500s in preparation for tonight. I'm going to stay up at the front. And that's what we did all night long. And in the end, the speed showed all night long, I think, with my car, with Garrett's as well, with many of the others throughout this evening. It was a heck of a race, to say the very least. The best Daytona 500 I've ever been a part of.
What's the pressure cooker feel like when you're in the seat there, Justin? You spent an awful lot of time behind the mic. What is it really like to be in the middle of the pressure cooker?
Well, a lot of it is just trying to strategize in that type of situation. Where the pressure cooker really started to settle in, Sean, was when it was 3 wide, multiple rows deep in the middle. And I'm just thinking, please don't make a mistake. Please don't make a mistake. And I think a lot of people were like that as well tonight, that especially the first half of that race with a lot of the battling to try and establish the tempo early on. But it was basically a lot of pressure to try and make sure kept the car in front, had the people I needed to have to work with, and to go from there.
How important is that that team as far as the support, the information, what that meant to you getting here in P4 tonight, being part of that underground team? How much does it mean to you?
It's a tremendous amount of help. Since joining the organization back in the late fall, early winter of last year, I've grown absolutely as a driver. It's been a great organization to be a part of, and it's an absolute tremendous help, to say the very least. I can't go into too much detail, obviously, but it's a heck of a team. It's a heck of a team. Boyd Hogan and the rest of the ownership group, when they started this organization back in October, the first thought I had was, they're doing the right things, and they're doing the right things and then some at the moment. It's a great organization to be a part of, and I want to be even in this situation without them.
Well, buddy, congratulations. I fought for the right to interview you here, and I won. So, and honestly, Justin, I've known you for years now. I don't think I've ever actually interviewed you. So this is a first for me, and I that's actually pretty cool. So congratulations. We'll talk to you soon, man. You going to be running these? Is that the plan on Friday nights?
At the moment, yes, that's the plan at the moment. And we're looking to hopefully come away with some victory.
Until baseball season starts, and then you may be calling a baseball game somewhere and not able to run. So we get that too. So, all right.
Indeed.
That's Justin Prince, our 4th place finisher tonight. Jonesy, and I think you're going to talk to somebody next. I don't know who you've decided on who you're talking to. You didn't communicate that to me, but it's okay.
Do I need to?
What are you gonna flip a quarter?
No, I'm gonna talk to Garrett Maines. He had quite the interesting race in the end, coming home in 7th place. How you feel after that one, Garrett?
Very relieved. I got very lucky. I don't know if you caught that on the broadcast, but like I was going 31 miles per hour in a slide, and I ended up getting the lucky dog. If I had gone any slower, I was about to lose that. So it was really close when that caution came out. I got lucky, got back in that position. But we had an up and down night. Like we were up front the entire time, and then we ended up getting turned out of the lead or out of the lead pack at the very end there. We were going to be leading the outside line, and that kind of set us on a bad path. We got stuck on the apron, which where the track. I was just stuck to where I couldn't move. I was aimed the wrong way. I was like, I just did that. 3-minute tow, beat the pace car back out, and only 1 lap down. So got really lucky there. Just everything kind of worked out for us to recover. But it's a blast up there.
Talk us through earlier on in the race, a few laps before I don't think it brought out the caution. You got very loose coming out of turn number 2 and speared down to the inside. What happened there?
That was so weird. So the whole time, like when Steve was trying to make the move, he wasn't getting the side draft, and I'm like, dude, we're not going to go anywhere. Like the dude in the lap car that was like trying to hold his spot was by himself in the middle, and I could not like push him by with like 3 people because he was so far up the track. And so I swapped with him, and he knew exactly what we were doing and threw the block coming off the corner. So I had to check up, and I just lost the rear and nowhere to go. Like, I could not believe that even happened and went straight into the field. It's like, well, that sucks.
Not the only time you're involved in an incident either. I was amazed that you managed to actually have a car left to run at the end.
No kidding.
How much damage was on that thing?
At the end, nothing. I had fixed it all. But I had 10 seconds. At 10 seconds from the one where I speared through the field. Like, I don't even know how that's possible. I'm assuming it's because Will was lagging. So, like, when I hit him, I didn't get the damage that I should have. But the first one with, like, Malik, that was the whole thing. Like, at the end, the bumpers weren't lining up with me and Donnie, because when he was pushing us, he was running one of the monster truck setups, and it just jacked me sideways. He barely touched me. Same thing happened with Malik. When I went to push him, it just jacked him sideways, and it was a fair hit, just like Donnie hit me, clean, square. The same thing happened with Malik, and that was a wreck in itself. Like, it's so hard to push those guys when they were, their rear end squatted and the front end's up, because it just didn't line up the right way. And they were wobbling on their own, so it made it really hard.
Well, I think 7th place, nothing to complain about after the crazy race you had. Are we going to see you back for this time slot each and every week?
I should be. I'm hoping to make some more runs this season.
All right. Well, wish you the best of luck. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, sorry, I wanted to keep up. Huge shout out to everybody over at Underground, Boyd Hogan, Chris Hill, Derek, everybody that makes it happen over there with the setups. This is a really good one, so we're hoping to keep that momentum going for the weeks. We've been working on Vegas all week, so that should be really good. Looking forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us up in the booth. Hope to talk to you next time.
Yes, sir. Hope so.
Well, that was Garrett Maines. And Sean, final thoughts before we wrap this.
Well, we got a lot of what I expected, and we talked in the pre-race about the races that have been going on over the past week and a half, and how they've all been really good. This was definitely a shining moment in all those races I've gotten to see. The green white checker worked out. We got it the second time. We got a great finish. Timmerman with the big surprise coming with his finish there in P3, coming up 30 spots. But this is Daytona, and that is possible. I hope for all the NASCAR fans on the planet that they get the enjoyable race we had this evening. And with that, I thank you for having me on board. I'm looking forward to this NIS season. I'll try not to screw it up. That's my promise to you. So
next week we go to Las Vegas, 134 laps around that track. That should be a fantastic follow-up to Daytona. The full schedule was just on your screen there. 3 full-length races, 2 more to come in this season. The rest all half-length. But before that, for SimSpeed TV, V8 Scops starts tomorrow, the premier supercar series on the iRacing service. Make sure you tune in for that one. Make sure you subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network and to SimSpeed TV to stay up to date with all the latest broadcasts coming up on both channels. Make sure you like our Facebook, Instagram pages as well at SimSpeed Esports Network. And make sure you check us a like if you enjoyed the broadcast. But until next time, from myself, Ryan Jones, from Sean Ambrose alongside me, from Jake Kennedy, behind the scenes as well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going in the outside. Both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him. Oh, my God. Oh, big crash. Oh, my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh, no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh, my God.
God.